Welcome back, everybody. We are resuming our streaming regular schedule, or I should say, we are resuming our regularly scheduled streaming, and we'll be here as always, or almost always, Tuesday nights, Thursday nights, Friday, and Sunday. So today is analysis stream, 4 streams a week schedule. Sorry, I was away for 2 weeks. Back now. We will have Christmas and New Year's, um, off for those holidays, but mostly streaming. Astrobate, welcome back. Speaking of Astrobate, where's your game? Okay, your game will load up first. I'll wait for everyone to gather. I'm not expecting a big crowd tonight because I haven't been streaming regularly. Tuesday night's Blitz tournament was half attended because we've been away for so much lately that Astrobate's the only one. But we will regain our previous greatness. Make chess great again. Alright, man, NPC, you're here. Well, that's the only two players we need. Your game is featured. Good evening. So we've got Astrobate against Man NPC, the only two players in the chat, amazingly. Chances of that, very low. Alright. So, I've got games from Astrobate, Mad NPC, that's next. Morales, nice to see our VIP Morales submitting a game for Thursday Night Analysis. Nefidov also. And I've got games from my away time. When I was on my sabbatical to play poker, I've got games from Stedsteg, Mule Skinner, Sung Prism, and Cheesy Noob. And if any of those players would like to change the game, maybe submit a different game that's more recent or something like that, feel free to do so. So what's up? We're going to start here with the Astrobate against Mad NPC. This is from Tuesday's Blitz tournament. Tuesday Blitz tournament, time control 5+3 with Berserking. It's not really a high quality time control. But with Astrobate it doesn't matter because he plays every game like it's 2-minute bullet. Alright, so Astrobate's white. He's playing Knight f3. Mad NPC, I don't know you too well. Let's see what you do here. So d5. And then white plays c4, the ready. Richard Reti, or Reti Ricard, who was, if I remember correctly, Reti, of course, Reti is a Hungarian name, but I believe that Reti was from Prague. I believe he was from modern day Czechia, as far as I know. But considered a legendary Hungarian player. Alright, c6, the Slav. This is actually not a Slav, but a Neo-Slav. Because white has not played d4, so it can't really be a Slav. What I generally do here, Astrobate, is play e3. That's the number one move. d4 transposes the Slav. b3 is a ready line that's well known. There was this game I've mentioned before, Jinji and Tal, I think. Tal, Jinji, DC4, BC4, E5. My very old, one of my first versions of Fritz used to play this against me when it was black. Anyways. But I like E3. Of course, black has lots of options. So you play E4 mainly. But against d4, King's Indian. Well, this is a Slav. So, Astrobate now goes with a very strange move. Bad move. Was this a mouse slip, Astrobate? Well, no. See, Astrobate is... I guess he learned to play this, right? He's expecting d4, b4. But d4, b4 is about c5. You're circumventing c5. There's a reason to play b4 after d4. you're trying to discourage black from being able to play c5. However, black doesn't play d4. Black plays c6, reinforcing his d5. The pressure's still on your c4 pawn, so therefore b4 is a very bad move. He can just take. And after takes, if white could regain that pawn, everything would be fine. Did my stream crash or just you crashed? I'm pretty tired tonight. I don't know. I got to get used to the new schedule. I have bad sleep. But so you're saying your laptop crashed? Your iPad? D takes c4. This is very bad, Asterbate. Or just your position crashed. No, b4 is question mark. But black, I don't know where his time went, by the way. He must have started the game berserking. You berserked. Alright. Don't berserk against Asterbate. He's quick. So you should take here. And I don't really see white getting this pawn back so easily. If e3, b5, we could try a4, but it all looks a little bit dubious for white. Twitch crashed. Alright, so b4, terrible move. Black should take, but he doesn't. So by not taking now on b4, on c4, Mad NPC is going to let you sneak into a Polish. This is a bad move because after knight f6, we can now transpose to the Polish with e3, playing a Polish opening with white, which isn't so bad. You know, so long as c4 is protected, b4 is not attacked. White's position is perfectly reasonable now. It's a Polish in reverse. Having said that, I mean c6 or against the Polish is quite a good system. You can set up for a5. I wonder what happens. So if e3, a5, no one's ever played that, white probably just pushes to b5. Wow, the engine actually wants to take on a5. That's kind of surprising. I don't know. You know, I don't know if we can definitively say what white's best move is after a5. Anyway, Asterbate, you have to play e3 here. This is inferior. cd5. Maybe it's not so bad, but I mean, you're trading a 4th rank pawn for a 6th rank pawn. What are you getting for it? You know, nothing special. Takes. And now, what should white do? I mean, it seems to me like bishop b2 is kind of a no-brainer. Don't take it personally, man, NPC. Asterbate had a bad week. I think this is the only games he won. Alright, so bishop b2. That's best. This move I don't really understand. I mean, your knight is just going to get hit by d4 in a lot of cases. So this is also bad. I mean, we can calculate. If d4, knight b5, and how does this pawn stay protected? Knight c6, right? Now, if white plays bishop b2, you can just completely protect everything. So I guess e3. But again, still e5. It looks very good for black. This is also hanging. All right. Yeah, it's always hard to tell when people are joking in text speak. So knight c3, very bad. Black reacts kind of passively with a6, though it's still very solid. And now e3. So we have one game where this position has been reached, and over the board game, black played bishop g4, which is perfectly reasonable. So let's see what. By the way, e3 is a sensible move. Again, it's a Polish where white exchanged pawns, and I don't think exchanging those pawns is I don't think exchanging these pawns is beneficial. Releasing the tension. All right, let's be nice now. Bishop f5, bishop b2, e6, a3, knight c6, bishop e2, and now bishop d6. Black is a good position. I think that black is slightly better because of the strong pawn on d5, but it's close to equal. Now Asterbate plays b5, really not a dangerous move. Takes, knight takes, bishop b8. And yeah, everybody's gonna chill out because we have a very small stream here, so everybody has to be nice to each other till I build up, hundreds of viewers, and then you can start saying nasty stuff to each other. Wait till we get hundreds of viewers to start that in fighting. So bishop b8. I think you guys look like you played a good game until this point now. It became a very normal position where black is a tiny bit... I would argue black is a tiny bit better. Maybe not, though. I mean, this bishop on b2 is becoming very strong. So I guess it's equal. Okay, let's say it's equal. But Asterbate should develop. He should castle. This is a scary diagonal, but you're going to have to live with that. You can't complete your development if you don't castle here with white. So I don't like this. I mean, the knight on b5 is pretty well placed. I cannot justify moving that knight off of b5. It could be out of play, but I think, I take my chances. I mean, I guess you're worried about e5. It's true. It's true. Let's think about this a little more deeply. Maybe Asterbate's move makes sense. Because by playing knight d4, you're actually playing for control of e5. Now, I like the knight on b5, but what this does is if you castle, it's true. Black can play e5. Okay, it's not clear. I have d4, e4, and then knight e5. And this is quite sharp. I think this is the way you're going to have to play it. But black doesn't have to react to that. He can just live with it. So I think you actually came up with a good idea here, Asterbate. By playing this move, you're denying that knight that's controlling e5. Right? And so you're also attacking his bishop. I take it back. I think I kind of like knight d4. There's also the check on b5 if black trades. So he plays solid, bishop g6. And now you have the option to go here. While that move might seem a little materialistic, it needs to be considered because it's very forcing. So, I don't know. What does black do? What do you want to say? Like queen d6, right? We can continue to pile up on the c6. That looks very problematic for black. I'm not even sure about bishop g6, to be honest. Maybe black doesn't have time for bishop g6 here. Maybe black should castle and give you the bishop on f5. That might be the better option for black. Because this pin is so strong. I don't think he has time. Knight d4 is a good move. I was wrong, my first judgment. And now bishop b5. This move isn't as good. Now you're uniting black's pawns into one chain. You maintain control of e5, right? But you've also improved his pawn structure. No more isolated pawn on b7. So I think this would have been better, man. You should go for this pin. And if something like queen b6, you can increase the pressure. You can always play like a4. So I think that white is doing pretty well. Knight takes c6, though. This is a concession. You go here. And now black doesn't care about his white square bishop. Shouldn't care about it. But he should care about this pawn on c6. The problem is it can be attacked again. It's not easy to see how black should defend that pawn. There doesn't seem to be a good way to defend it. I can increase the pressure at any moment with rook c1. Right, right. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a blitz game, you're berserking. Although, you know, for people who play like Hyperbullet, which I don't, but I'm just saying, 2.5 minutes is an eternity. c5. c5 allows this check, which isn't decisive, but unpleasant for black. So I agree. Okay, his decision to practically sacrifice the pawn is reasonable, given the time control. And now Asterbate, you really ought to not concern yourself too much about the bishop on g6, but winning the material here. Because this move not only attacks the queen, it attacks the bishop on b8. Bishop on g6 is nice, but it's not attacking your king, you know. It's like a Christmas tree decoration over there. It's nice that it controls c2 and b1. Other than that, you know, I'm not really worried about it. I take the pawn. He plays queen b6. And now you have choices. You could go knight e7 check. If he goes to c7, again, you have rook c1, which looks like a good move. Lots of options. So Asterbate, huge mistake here, taking on g6 now. You gave away most of your advantage and the chance to win a pawn. I would say now white isn't even better. Two bishops don't matter that much here. Black has a good pawn structure. And now Asterbate goes pretty berserk with h4, but okay. I'll allow it. I feel like a judge. Mr. Keyrock, do you have any statement for the jury? Yeah, you're obsessed with not castling and playing like a caveman. I'll allow it, but right. Well, the only thing about the knight c6 that I was a little bit unsure about was like in these type of variations, you know, if you grab the guy on b8, I can grab the guy on b2. And that's weird, but it's playable. You know, this could very well lead to a situation where you win your pawn back, and the game just is totally equal. Like rook takes a3, takes, castles, and it's a draw. But the way he played, caveman, I mean, the sensible thing to do here is castle. You can always play g3. He's probably afraid he gets checkmated if he castles, but g3 will defend. He didn't want to defend, and now e5, h5, takes, bishop takes. You can't take because you're under attack, so you ignore it, which is the right thing to do. But what should black do? That's a real question. You don't want to take. There's no easy checkmate. I mean, we do have this, though. I want to point this out. Queen f3, queen h3. No, I don't think not castling is necessarily a crime. The way it worked out, you know, he's making it work, you know. He can still castle, by the way. But I have a bad feeling about this. But maybe, again, maybe I'm wrong. You know, I'm probably wrong. I mean, d4 shuts down the bishop on b2. I think it's probably not a bad move. You know, the other thing is double-edged, because your bishop is blocked as well. You know, now both bishops are blocked. It's bad for your bishop, and it's bad for his bishop, too. I mean, if we turn on the engine, it's going to tell us the position is like equal or something, right? Black is better by half a pawn. See, but it doesn't play d4. But again, like you said, it's a berserk game. Okay, d4, you're berserking. Remember, black is berserking. White is not. Rook c1. I'm here to analyze chess games, though. I don't really care too much about the time control, though it is a factor. I objectively want to focus on the chess. So we generally don't do a lot of blitz games in analysis. This is one of the fastest games, you know, we would normally go over. Normally, Asterbate doesn't play blitz. He plays like classical, rapid, now d takes e3. I don't like this for black because, you know, you just played d4 and it's blotting his bishop out. Now you're letting it free again. But honestly, if I was white, I would consider taking the other way. I guess there's a check here on a5. Maybe that's an issue. And now, boom. That's a good-looking move. There's pressure on d2. There's pressure on g3. If white castles, there's the fork here, which is kind of awkward, right? But I'm very surprised by white's play now. You know, what is he supposed to do? How about something sensible, like bishop f3? This looks pretty logical. If knight g, I guess rook h3, and now you can choose between several different moves. Knight f5, queen g5, I guess queen g5 or even e4. Actually, e4 is pretty awkward. But check this out. Do we have anything for white? Oh yeah, no, e4. Some weird stuff going on here. I mean, even queen c2. It's an interesting position now with the white bishops being kind of active. So, but Asterbait doesn't find that. He plays rook takes c6. I don't like this move. Too many pieces are loose. This is loose. This is loose. This is weirdly out there. There's a fork at g3. And so black plays queen g5 with threats of this. But now we get to an interesting point. It looks like white has nothing, but suddenly you have bishop takes f7 check. Is this a bluff, or does this actually work? So rook takes, rook check, queen b3, game over. So black has to take with the king. Wow. So see that? That's beautiful. If rook takes, rook check. Rook back, queen b3, black's done. Very beautiful shot. Only possible because of that rook on c6. But he can take with the king. Now, if white doesn't land a crushing blow, his king is going to be destroyed by queen g3 check or something of that order. But isn't queen b3 check pretty strong here? He holds off and doesn't play it right away. I think that's the move, right? You should play queen b3 check right away. Black only has 2 squares. And e8 is really bad because of check, queen e7, and mate. And e7 is just as bad, or worse. Oh, wow. So it's like forced mate. There's no answer to bishop takes f7 out of the blue. But Asterbait castled instead. And the problem is, what about king here? The real question is, how do you attack him on the dark square? See, Mad NPC has to see, like, the light squares are very weak in his position, but the dark squares, this bishop is nice, but it's blocked there, blocked there. He doesn't have access to, like, bishop a3. So if you go to e7, how is he going to get you? That's the problem. And I think that's... I don't think it's necessarily refutation, but I don't see anything better than rook takes rook, king takes rook, queen f3 check, attacking the knight, and then knight f6. And now we can win a rook with rook c8 check, and queen takes a8, winning the game. So it was winning either way, it looks like. King g8, okay, queen b3 check. And we're going to win the rook on f8. And we're threatening mate in 1. So it's over. Nice. Nice finish. Okay. So that's in the books. Again, we will restate that this was a fast game with one side berserking. It's not like a high quality time control. But it was a nice tactic, Azerbaijan. All right. So who else is here? We had Etan. Etan, you're not a subscriber? Etan. Etan is not a subscriber. Oh, we got another player here. Someone new. Pilium. I can't read. It's too small. It's like light green. Pilium C5 bright. Okay. So guys, you will do that now. Okay, great. Make yourself a subscriber. In the meantime, we have lots of games, so I've got tons of stuff to go over. Mr. Slow is yet to return. I haven't heard from him since Prague. But Man NPC submitted the following game. Thanks, Etan. All right. Etan is a subscriber now, so add his game. I know you put a link in there. Thank you for the subscription by Etan. Where'd it go? And there was first time chat from Pitium. Was just asking about the game. Okay. Where is that link? Play nice, masturbate. Never have time to masturbate out. That's a good thing. Alright. Copy. Download raw. I don't want to download. I don't want to download. I just want to copy it. Alright, let's see. Hello. Study. Analysis stream. Okay, it's in there. Alright. So, anyway, that's in there. Etan. Alright, in the meantime, we're going to go with Big Ed against Kavalik. Yeah. I played Edward Gufeld twice, and I was lucky against him. I beat him once, and I drew the other game, and I was black and the Sicilian in both. Very proud of that. He was real mean, real angry when he lost. That was like in 2001. He died a few years later. There was this guy looking for his games, like collecting his games for a book, and I couldn't find my games. Somewhere in the archives. I never played Kavalik though. Kavalik lived in the United States. He lived in Washington D.C. or Virginia, and from about the time when I started playing in 1985, although Kavalik lived in the U.S. and wrote a column for the Washington Post. He even put one of my games in the Washington Post once. I never even saw him in the flesh. He basically quit playing serious chess at the exact time when I started playing tournament chess. Whereas Gufeld, continued to play into his older years. So other than the column for the Washington Post, Kavalik never played anymore. How's the what? How's the chessing? Well, I'm getting back to chess. I have been away for 2 weeks. So anyway, what is this game here we got for what? Black is victorious. So we should look from Kavalik's side. Kavalik was a stronger player than Gufeld. I believe Gufeld was known for, writing some books. Maybe he was like a coach. I think for when Chibernidze came to the United States and I played her in a Blitz tournament in 1986. I remember I think Gufeld was there as like a KGB guard or something. He was basically assigned to make sure no one emigrates or something. But anyway, Kavalik was respected as a very, very strong player on a higher level than Gufeld. There was another, I think it was Korchnoi, who made a joke about Gufeld. But anyway, I don't remember when Gufeld became a grandmaster, when Gufeld became a grandmaster, Korchnoi like dissed him. Anyways, so e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, and then so Kowalik is from Czechoslovakia, modern day Slovakia, but he immigrated to the United States in the 70s. I don't know what the situation there was. It wasn't that common in those days to be able to immigrate, but he immigrated pretty early to the United States. Yeah, Sun Prism, I got it. Bishop c5. So classical Sicilian, Rue Lopez. Classical variation. This isn't seen that much. It never has been seen that much. It's always had kind of a somewhat dubious reputation. But what am I thinking of now? This is a sharp line. So I prefer castles personally, but c3 is also a major variation. And if black plays knight f6 now, it's like a so-called Berlin classical. I had a friend who used to play that all the time, an ex-friend who's an idiot, but this is a siesta variation, right? Is it? Or no, the Cordell Gambit, sorry. Siesta is in the Steinitz. This is Cordell Gambit, right? F5? Yeah. So I know, like, next to nothing about this. So let's see. Played by Ivan Sokolov, who was known for playing the classical. That's the only really respectable player here playing it on a regular basis. Ivan played it 3 times. Losing to Leiko, losing to Bologan, and drawing with Motolev. You got to ask yourself the question though, like, are we playing this for a win, or I guess we're playing for a win. We're trying to trick people in the opening by playing something sharp. But when you're playing players on the level of like Leiko. Now let's think about this in terms of when this game was played. It was 1962. Sokolov playing it in 2007 is a different story. There's computers, there's databases. They've been around for over 15 years. That's a different era. For Kowalik to play it against Gufeld in 1962, when there's no computers, it's okay, right? So Gufeld knows a lot of theory, though. He was very, very well regarded in terms of opening theory. D4, King's Indian, Spanish was classic. He was a student of the Soviet era. He probably, studied the King's Indian. The Spanish was very heavily important in Soviet opening theory study. So he should know what he's doing. Gufeld should know what he's doing on the white side of a Spanish. This is a very sharp position. I don't know the theory. F takes e4. And here, somewhat surprisingly, it looks like the main move is actually bishop takes c6. Counterintuitive, a little bit of a counterintuitive move, because it doesn't seem like a logical move at this moment. Why would you suddenly give up your light square bishop? So Gufeld plays knight g5. So what's the idea with knight e5, by the way? What I'm not understanding is something with queen h4. So let's look at this for a second. Knight takes e5, knight takes e5. I see. So queen h5 check is some kind of bullshit that's not good. But white can play just takes. And this is what I was wondering. What happens after takes? Now we play c6. Now the bishop has to move. And what's going on? Queen h4 or e3. Let's say e3. Disruptive. Bishop e3, bishop e3, queen f3, neat move. Bishop f2 is obviously possible. Black plays queen h4. And then he can escape with his king to d8. Crazy position. So after f takes e4, it's very interesting. There's 178 games here, and in tournament play, which is even shocking, because this gambit isn't played very often. I'm honestly very surprised. There'd be as many as 178 games from this position in tournament practice. But the really shocking thing is that Gufeld's move has only been played in 2 games. This is 3. So, what is white threatening? You know, exactly. To take on e4? Not very scary. So if you play, if you play knight f6, then I can do all kinds of things. Take on c5. I can play bishop takes c6 and then take on e5. That doesn't make sense. We have to take the piece back. You have to take the piece back. This doesn't make sense. I can't play knight f6. I'm losing a piece. Duh. Alright, so you have to take on d4. It is Benjamin versus Hebert. This doesn't look scary for black, though. Knight takes e4, bishop e7. It doesn't look that scary. It looks like black might be okay. Of course, what about his king? Let's see what Joel did. Castles. This game was played 1 year before I started playing over the board chess. d5. Benjamin was quite young. Queen h5 check. And now Hebert did king f8. Well, this could be like World Junior. I don't know. 1984. Joel was very young. It could have just been the World Open or New York Open or something too. King f8. Yeah, I don't like this king. Alright, so that didn't happen in this game. After knight g5, so Gufeld plays knight g5 and Kowalik plays bishop b6. This is a bit more ambitious than taking on d4, I guess. There's a Mariotti game from 1971. Italian grandmaster who was very famous. Actually, is he still alive? Mariotti might even still be alive. He played with Karpov a lot in that time in the 70s. He was like maybe the #1 Italian player in the 70s. I'm not sure when he got the GM title. I didn't think he was a grandmaster, in that era. Maybe he got the title later. Not important, but anyway. Famous for playing a lot of really crazy lines. This would fit in. Bishop b6, and now white castles in this game against Mariotti, a player I never heard of. But, yeah, castles looks logical. White went on to lose that game as well. So white is 0 for 2 in this position. d5 makes sense. Oh, man. So black just shocking white now with the next move. Gufeld must assume black's going to play like knight e7 or something. This is crazy. So watch what happens. e3, the disruption. Disruptor ray. That's a really cool idea. Wow. Home analysis? Well, I don't know. Personally, when I face this opening, I like to castle. A lot of people do weird stuff, like they'll go here, I don't really know. That doesn't seem that good. So by playing c3 first, of course, you're allowing more gambits and stuff. Say this to Steinitz, same thing. e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5. if I play like or the sign it's deferred, you know, a6, bishop a4, d6. If you castle, you know, there's nothing fancy that black can do. But if you play c3, you allow the siesta variation, very, very similar type of thing. So I think, you know, inherently, castling is a safer option than playing a c3 before you've even castled. This is sharper. What is this message I've got here? Sun Prism. Is that a new game or an old one? Because Sun Prism, I got your game from 2 weeks ago. Oh, you resent it. Okay. So, yeah, neat idea. E3. And I'm getting a headache just looking at this. Obviously, you have Queen H5 check. There's G6. So, suddenly white, you know, I mean, he could take here, but then black just recaptures. And we're going to get our piece back, either the bishop on b5 or the knight on g5, one or the other, we get back. So white, you know, just maintaining material equality here, and now plays knight e4, defending f2, which makes sense. But now black has another annoying in-between move, queen h4, hitting the knight and triple attacking f2. Oops. You know, you gotta wonder, like, how much of this could black have possibly... How much... Yeah, I thought knight takes e5 was decent. How much of this could black have possibly known, like, in advance, you know? This would almost never happen. In an era before computers, too, it's like... You would think, like, Kavalek has to figure it out over the board. Like, both players are probably figuring this out over the board. It's such a rare opening. So Gufeld defends with queen f3, defends both weaknesses. Knight f6, developing. And now knight f6 check. And black is fine. I mean, why? Well, I guess we're sacking a piece, though, right? So we're sacking a piece. Takes. Very scary, though. Check. And now where do we put the king? So Kavalek sacrifices a piece for a massive center. Or maybe not. Let's see. King f1 would look... You know, I mean... It looks like the safer option. This is strange. I mean, he's allowing this bishop g4. So his idea is to play bishop e2. Okay, I get it. So you take here. You're threatening bishop g4. I mean, is that king really safe there on d1? No, I'm curious about this position. Let's ask the oracle. Because I really don't know where this king should go. Yeah, king f1 was forced. Shit. I would instinctively play king f1. Yeah. Man, NPC revealed the nasty truth of the position. I had a feeling, I mean, I would intuitively play king f1. It's safer for the king. You're blockading. You know, he's expecting, I guess, black to take toward the center or something and go for this big center as compensation for the sacrifice piece. If I take with the b pawn, you know, then the king is safe because there's no rook coming to this open file. But yeah, this is additionally, in addition to bishop g4, there's also like castle's queenside or rook d8, and the white king is clearly not safe here. So Gufeld was kind of greedy. Bishop e2. Preventing bishop g4. Now first black has to develop the bishop in order to castle or play rook d8 check. Oh wow, this is wild. So Gufeld gets to trade queens. Oh my god. He trades queens. Queen h5, bishop h5, king e7. And he's up a piece. White is up a piece. But 1, 2, 3 pawns. Black has all 8 pawns. So he has 3 pawns for the piece. Plus, if you try to play king e2, you have bishop c4 check. So black has enough material for the piece already. Plus the white king is unsafe. b3, preventing any sort of bishop c4. And now bishop d5, very nasty move. I anticipated bishop f3. But there's going to be a problem. If you play bishop f3, I'll trade and play rook g8 and rook g1. But this is just for stalling the inevitable. Bishop a3 check, king e6, check, f5. And so he finds a way to go here. Okay. Looks like the only try. But what about, yeah, c4 is a threat now or not? Because of bishop here. So technically, like Kavalek could go even like e4. c4 can be met by bishop there. He plays rook g8, simple move. Knight d2, boom, boom, boom. And now it's very apparent. I mean, we have 1, 2, 3 connected pass pawns for a knight. And the bishop's pretty bad. It's over. Rook f1. So, interesting game. Too many pawns. This is a very beautiful thing now. And I doubt this is forced, by the way. I think he was concerned about knight c4. Maybe it is forced. Damn. I mean, another option... yeah, I mean, you could, for example, play a6, knight c4, bishop a7. But what happens if White starts, like, swapping rooks here? This is brutal. He sacks a rook on d2. Oh, my God. And then the two connectors with this, and then this. Wow. That is impressive. Very brute force. Very beautiful. And another surprising move, rook g5. You would never expect that here. It's weird. Rook g5 is kind of a weird move. Presumably to forestall this. Takes, takes. Oh my God. This can't be right. You gotta be kidding me. He sacks the exchange? Oh my God. That's sadistic. That's just torturing the guy for fun. Wow. Beautiful. Yeah, it looks almost composed. Czech American Grandmaster. Former number 10 in the world. Alright, so then we've got the games from last time. Sung Prison. Since Sung Prison is here, I'm going to do that first. French defense. I'm assuming that Sung Prism is not playing white in the exchange variation of the French. Because he likes the French. And what kind of French defense player would play... Didn't Nigel Short do that once? What kind of French defense player would play the exchange variation of the French with the white pieces for a draw or something? Oh no, move 11. No random game submissions. Guys, don't forget to subscribe. Good to see Morales back. Our first donation for the World Senior Team still hasn't arrived. I think my donation link is broken. Move 11 with random game submission. That's what we like to see. Random. It's a little late. I mean, we've got a lot of games with 11. You got to get with the the schedule here. All right, copy. Probably the last game I can add for today. The Very Strange Learning Chess, or what's his name? The Power of the New, who isn't a subscriber, always sends me games. It's very weird. If you're not a subscriber, you can't submit games. All right, so you have to be a subscriber to do that. Copy, learn, study, my games, my studies. I know that's deep. Hard to understand. Did the game go in there? What? Where's move 11? Ah, I have to put it in. Duh. Okay, so that's it. That's 10 games. Joseph Jurassic. All right, no more games. Even for subscribers, we reached the 10-game limit. So we're gonna start with Sun Prism. Then we're gonna go to Morales. A lot of old VIPs and friends. Like, we got a follow from Ash Ketchum, and what I was gonna say. Yeah, VIPs like Morales, and founders like Move 11, who's been here almost 10 years. Mule Skinner, also longtime subscriber. Move 11, gifting a tier 1 sub to Mad NPC. Oh, Mad NPC wasn't a subscriber. What? You weren't a subscriber all the time. You tricked me. Alright. You must have let your subscription lapse. So, you thought you could pull a fast one on me. Alright. Sometimes I don't notice. His submissions are so good, I don't care if he's a subscriber, right? So, alright, Sun Prism. You're black. It's a French. E4, E6. So, opponent plays knight C3. Now here, if you play something weird like, I don't know, Bishop B4, I would imagine all kinds of shit can hit the fan. Could you imagine like Bishop B4 and white playing Queen G4? That would be cool. No, anyway, okay. It's just that the French exchange variation is so annoying. But I feel like more people, when they play knight c3, they're more likely to probably play something like this, you know. I feel like it's the knight f3 guys that always play the exchange variation after d5. This is much more common. I'm much more surprised to see exchange variation after knight to c3, because that knight isn't necessarily that well placed on c3 in exchange variation structure. There are lines, though. There are lines. Okay, so knight c3, d5 takes, make you want to just puke, right? Gross. I hate symmetrical structures. Takes the dynamism out of the position. E takes d5, and now, I mean, white basically doesn't have a serious move other than d4 at this point. And if you play bishop b4, you would transpose to a winnower exchange, which is probably better for white, so you don't really want to do that. So this move order does take away, I guess, bishop d6. If you like playing that way with your bishop on this active square, it's not possible because of knight takes d5. I don't know too much about the French because I never really played it much, but it feels like, you know, you're forced to play either c6 or knight f6 now. I know there are some lines where white will like put the queen out here. Some ideas to castle queenside or something. c6. You see there's a few games with like queen f3. It's really weird. I remember this game, the second one on the list. This was very strange. I was playing in Hungary in an open tournament. Unbelievable. That was 8 years ago. It seems like yesterday. 2017 was 8 years ago. Okay, that's fucking disturbing. That's really disturbing. Because it was just yesterday, I was like standing there watching Rapport play the exchange variation against Almashi's brother, Istvan. Why would Rapport play the exchange variation of the French against a weaker player? How weird is that? You know, I was like, what is he doing? He still like crushed him very easily. But can you imagine being Richard Rapport? What would make you play the exchange variation of the French? That's just, maybe he found some weakness in the guy's game that he thought was notable. I don't know. I just thought it was a funny way to beat a weaker player by playing like he was mocking him or something, you know? I'm gonna beat you with the exchange French because you suck so bad. You know? It was a crushing game too. But anyways. Rapport does weird stuff. So d4 and you play knight f6. This is probably the best move, I would think. Because committing to c6 is a little bit committal. And anyway, let's see what white does. So bishop g5 is a move. I'm not afraid of that. This could transpose to some weird Petrov. By the way, if like white plays knight f3, you have a Nimzovich Petrov with the tempo up. I'm very happy about that. They started playing Ilinčić's like thing. You know, this is funny. A couple years ago, well, 8 years ago, Ilinčić used to do this. Like in the Nimzovich Petrov, he would go takes d6, knight f3, takes, and after knight c3, everybody looked at him like he was an alien when he went here. And now like top players are playing this and stuff. And that would be funny. That would be like an improved version. I like knight f6. You know, I'm not afraid of bishop g5. Knight f3 is nothing, you know. So what do you have to worry about? This is very good. Knight f3. So you're a tempo up in an Ilinčić, Nimzovich, Petrov. You have a free move, you know. And so Sun Prism here plays h6, which is an extreme prophylactic free move. It's a cowardly move, but not necessarily a bad move. Can you look at that? Look at that. Bishop d6, bishop e7, c6, bishop g4, bishop e4, bishop f5, knight c6. No one has played h6 except for Sun Prism. But you know what's funny about that? It kind of makes sense. You know what this is? It looks like it's almost like you're playing the exchange French with white. You could play c5, not with bishop b5 check though, probably. Scared of pin. Yeah, but I think the pin is overrated, Sun Prism. The pin is overrated, but of course it depends. You know, you don't have to be scared of the pin if you're going to play bishop e7. The pin can be annoying if you have to play bishop d6. It depends on where you're going to put your pieces. I don't think h6 is a bad move, but it does feel a little bit slow. So admittedly, like bishop d6, yeah, but think about it. If you play bishop d6, right, the best square, if they go bishop g5 now, you just play c6 and you laugh at them. You're like, haha, like what kind of pin is this? Who cares? You know? I mean, you can't take d5. What are they going to do to like increase the pressure? Look at that. Like, white hasn't won a single game. I mean, it's a small sample size, but still. I think the pin is overrated. It's the same thing in the Joko Piano, too. Pin is a little bit overrated. But I like knight f6. You didn't commit to c6 right away. But it would be good after bishop g5. Now you have a reason to play c6. And I think you have a good game. Alright, anyway, it's interesting. h6. It was played. It has been played by transposition or whatever. It's playable, right? Now, as I said, you have a tempo up on the Ilinčić variation of the Petrov. h6 is an extra move in a slightly dubious variation of the Petrov. Are you going to regret h6 because you can sacrifice a piece over there? But I mean, white's next move it's an atrocity. Is white playing black? White is playing black, and you're playing white. The next move is an atrocity. This guy should have his chess license taken away. Bishop e2. What are you doing? You can't do anything with that. You know? That's the worst move ever. He's being black. He's taking away his knight's only maneuver, also. His only way to get his knight in the game from c3 is to like maneuver it through e2. Like Joseph Henry Blackburn. Can you imagine doing that? That's sick. Oh my god, he played bishop e2. So he has to play bishop d3. He's afraid of the pin. The quote of the day is, I was afraid of the pin. He's afraid of the pin too. He's afraid you're going to play bishop g4. He's so afraid of bishop g4 he played bishop e2. It's, this is the Arsenal fan panacea move. I'm saying if I say Arsenal fan enough times, he'll be like the Candyman and like show up in the stream. I'm not afraid of the pin, you know. In fact, I welcome it. Famously, Blackburn did like 92. And that game always, like, it it left a lasting impression on me, you know. To allow this intentionally is something well, my theory anyway, Mad NPC, is that bishop g4 is always bad in all like double king pawn openings. Because fundamentally, you know, you normally have like a dark square pawn chain with black. It's usually black's like good bishop. Now this is a little different because it's a Petrov type of structure. Now we have a light square pawn chain. Theoretically, that is our bad bishop. If we go by the central pawns, it's not that ridiculous, you know, to play bishop there. But I think the pins are overrated. But this is a terrible move because after bishop e2, what is White going to do? The only plan he has now is to try to do like knight e5. I mean, but that still would be, he would still be better off with his bishop on d3. Bishop d6. White is white and black. I mean, black is white and white is black. Castle, castle, and now rook e1. Well, that's great, right? Great. You played rook e1. Wow, look at the scope that rook has because your bishop on e2. Black to play. I mean, you have to watch out for this knight b5, man. Didn't he have that last move? Dude. Dude, he took away his only square, right? But he does have this. Sun Prism, you're in trouble here, bro. In fact, maybe he should play knight b5 right away. What are you going to do? Oh my god, you got to give him your bishop? Or, no, you live with the... You got to live with the... You're going to have to live with the face hugger on a6, bishop f4, knight a6. That's disgusting. Well, that's a serious argument for c6, right? I have another suggestion. Something a little more extreme. If black is white and white is black, then what do? Right? I mean, if this is like a Godiva variation or whatever, we play c5. Now, it might not work because it looks like a Jabava. I mean, but still, like, what's the worst thing can happen? Bishop f4, we go a6. How bad can it be, right? We just stop knight b5. You're not going to do that. If he's not going to be white, I think you should, you know? Yeah, but I mean, c6 is kind of lame. I don't think that c6 and h6 go together. You know what I mean? You want to play h6, then you're not supposed to play c6. If you play c6, you solidly defend d5. You don't need to defend against the pin with bishop g5. He has no threats. You know, he's not threatening bishop f6, knight takes d5. If you're going to play h6, it's an ambitious move. You're taking away the g5 square. You're indirectly defending your d5. You're making c5 possible. You're playing like you're white. Yeah, h6 is slow, but it's also a move that white plays on the white side of Godiva variation, or Queen's Gambit accepted with e3. It is slow, but if we get away with it, it can be very effective. So the idea is now to play knight c6 and play an active IQP, you know, where we're white. I think the c5 might be black's best move in this position. Okay, I mean, there's a lot of options. He could go here. What do you guys think? It's a risky move. The engine doesn't like it, but it's true about bishop d6, knight b5. This is true. a6 is another weird move, but it does the job. Yeah, got a little bit of Jabava going on here. I don't know. I still like c5. You can't refute this, can you? I mean, c5, yeah, best move is bishop e3. I don't know. I mean, I like playing IQP positions. I don't mind. c4 or takes. It's possible. It looks like it's a little too ambitious. All right, so c6 is solid. a6 is interesting. He misses knight b5 altogether. And I think at this point, you know, a6 looks reasonable to go for c5. But it is a bit slow. I just don't like this knight b5. Yeah, so c6. c6 is fine. This move is really lame. Bishop b3 super lame. Giving you possible exchange sacrifices on e3. What's our plan, though? Now you played bishop f5. Fine. h3, really just preventing knight g4. And now c6 finally. And so you have a solid position. It's a very classic Kali system, London system type of setup here. Why is White so ambitious? Because he's afraid. He's a fearful player. So why is he playing the exchange variation? Why do people play the exchange variation? Bishop f1, knight up bd7, and now knight e2. Yeah, because he has nowhere else to go. Guys, over halfway there. 75 out of 150 sub points. I don't know what it's talking about. Now, queen c7. Played like a true Caro-Kann player. Now, this is a normal move. You're preventing him from using those squares. He'll play queen d2. He'll get slammed by knight e4. So he realized to play queen c1. That is lame, right? But he has a plan. He has a plan. Bishop f4. Now, if bishop f4, do we have rook takes e2? I think we do. Another exchange variation. So you played a5. If he plays bishop f4, we take on e2. He takes on d6. We take on e1. He takes on c7. We take on c1. He takes on c1. What's happening? Material equality, but white has the bishop pair. Alright, so queen c1. This looks like an Ilinčić move in the Petrov. If you don't know what to do, just randomly grab some space. You can never go wrong with that. And also actively, you know, developing a rook from its original square. I like a5. Why not? But, you know, he needs to go for this. Oh, there's a problem. No. He can play bishop f4. Eventual knight f8. No. I mean, the knight is too important right now. We don't need to play knight f8. You know, but instead of a5, maybe Sun Prism has something better. You know, this is very fundamental. Why don't you play in the center? You know, come to think of it, I know this is very stereotyped, but like rook e7, you know. Play where the play is. a5, I said I like it, it's fine, but maybe this is best. You know, we just play where the action is. Rook e7, rook e8, knight e4, bring it on. Does our queen get trapped in any lines, by the way? Let's just say knight g3. He can't sack this pawn, right? Takes, takes, takes. There's no tricks with like bishop f4. Almost. This is pretty weird. Like queen g6. Well, rook's hanging. We're going to have to throw that exchange in there. Bishop f4, rook e1. Knight e1. Yeah, this is just a pawn down for white. So he can't do this. He's tied up. He has to try this bishop f4. But rather than knight f8, you know, the knight keeps control of e5, we pile up here. So even if he exchanges, can he play queen f4? This is hanging. White's going to lose the c2 pawn. So I think it's much more fundamental to go with direct approach. The other move is knight e4. a5, it's okay. Computer doesn't like it, probably. And now he plays c4, but this is mental. This is a desperate man. Totally inconsistent with his earlier play. Now, obviously, you take on c4. I think White just realized how passive his position was, and he sort of freaked out. Now he has a horrible isolated pawn type position where he doesn't have any active play. Black is more active than White. You have a better structure, and you have better activity than White. Knight f4, yeah, that's also a move. c4 was weird. So I don't know, this queen here. It's not like black is winning here. a4. It's hard for white to do anything. here. Okay, what's the plan? Well, now we get a4 with tempo. Now he's gone back passive again. And then here, obviously, dominating this. Yeah, you're like plus 1.4 in this position. Also, this might be nearly winning. Oh my god. Yeah. It looks like you're playing a computer on a really weak setting or something. That's what it feels like to me. White is like a computer on handicap mode. Mr. Coffee, our moderator, one of our longtime subscribers, he likes to play the computers on handicap modes. But it's hard to make computer programs play realistically in handicap. It would take a lot of money, I think, to really develop a realistic handicap computer, and the money just isn't there, to put the kind of work that would be required to develop something like that. So that's what it looks like, though. A3. Oh, you played A3. I thought it was his turn. He played bishop D2. You played A3. Sure, why not? And now he should probably take. But he allows you to seal in this weakness on A2. And now you played rook E7, which is question mark according to the analysis bot. Such a natural move. Rook E7 is like the most natural move in the world. What could possibly go wrong? Well, you missed a winning move, right? There's nothing wrong with rook E7. What do you have? There's just no answer to knight B4. You're threatening knight C2. He can't drop the A pawn. And if he takes, he's screwed there too, right? Takes. This is game over. I mean, knight E4 at a minimum. So it's not that rook E7 is a mistake. It's that you missed the winning move. Oh, knight E4 was even better. What's wrong with knight B4? Oh, it is good. Well, okay, they're both good. Knight E4, wow. I mean, it's not that obvious. You're threatening some combo of knight takes D2, bishop B4. I think this is a little easier to see. Anyway, moving on. You made a natural move here, but I think you were kind of inconsistent. You started playing over there, and then you decided to do the central thing. But that A2 is a goner. Here. If you let him trade pieces, I don't know, but this A2 pawn remains a weakness. You don't want to swap too many pieces here. So I would expect knight D5. You can never be too careful about blockading the enemy isolated pawn. Bishop H2 check is apparently strong. Oh, that's nasty. You have some follow-up with knight E4. But like you were saying earlier, knight D3 check here, knight E4. Knight D3. Don't see a knockout. And I'm sure you were feeling the same. You played this, also a good move. Just winning his dark square bishop is good for black. And you have a concrete threat here of knight takes f2, kind of a cheapo. See, he did liberate his isolated pawn. Interestingly enough. And you're kidding me. So he ends up with a shot based on g7 because you allowed that pawn to liquidate. Wow. That's very instructive. So what is the computer going to say? You're supposed to play here c5 or something? Then there's these annoying moves. Bishop e5. So he has a counter shot. Queen d4. I'm honestly not sure, though, because knight f2, queen d4, knight h3 check, yeah. So, yeah, that's what happened. Queen d4, knight h3 check. You have to. But he can move his king. That's the problem. Wow. You got caught not calculating accurately enough. And I think it's really fundamental that you let that blockade go, you know. I would have preferred to put the knight on d5 rather than e4. I do think that sometimes blockading the IQP can be like a kind of malignant sort of, I don't know, dogmatic thing that a lot of people overrate. But still, in this case, you're using the e-file. The knight's on d5. You're not blocking your pieces with knight e4. Plus, I really like that knight b4 thing, attacking the pawn on a2. So you got caught here, calculating incorrectly, or not calculating, and now had to play f6. And so you end up sacrificing a piece, like unintentionally. You have bishop e4. Bishop e4 wins what? A third pawn for the piece. And black is black is objectively, you know, what, better here. But who knows? Maybe white's okay at this point. You had screwed up. So after this move you played bishop c5. You know, that pawn, be careful. There was this one game where one of my teammates, he was like crushing his opponent a few years ago. And just the pawn, it was an IQP where it just kept coming. It was ridiculous. Just once and again, and like it advanced like devastatingly like 5 times. Well, 4 times. But anyway, never know when d6 might hit. Queen f4. And now bishop e4. But you're not necessarily threatening anything. So he takes. And there's a funny move the computer points out. This is a decoy. So it ended up being that you had only 2 pawns for the piece. And the worse your opponent's position got, the better he played. I hate that, you know. Now he's like a genius. What was the time control of this game? This is like a live game, an over-the-board game? I would want to kill myself right about now. How do I lose to this idiot, you know? And you had to trade pieces. There's like no possible way you can win this game. He could have played knight takes. And he played queen takes. Which is a mistake. But why? Why is this a mistake for white? Okay, you take and check, but then what? Okay, it's just an inaccuracy. It's not so bad. Queen e2. Knight h4. The knight's defended, okay. Check, knight takes. Queen takes a2. And so now, obviously, white should at least have perpetual. Check, 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 check. And nearly mate. Check, check. And now he gets greedy. We'll let him get to 5 subs. 1 tuna sub. Turkey. Italian. I'm hungry. Move 11. I didn't have time for dinner, guys. Just had a coffee. Okay, we got Insed, Aravin, Sanizia, Pocacello, and a praying mantis who was back recently. Thank you, Move 11. Guys, speak up in the chat. I want to get some interaction with the viewers. I want to get more interaction, so I'm just not lecturing you guys. This should be more interactive, where people are asking questions. We need like, I need like a sort of student teacher in the chat room or something. Okay, so he has a draw and doesn't take it. At this point, he's screwed up so badly that you got to be happy with the draw here, man. I mean, you have 3 pawns. One of them's on the 6th rank. And the guy doesn't take the draw? I mean, obviously, like, check, you know, you can try to walk out, but I mean, it's really dangerous. This is almost certainly a way. Actually, it's perpetual right away. So anyway, he's just greedy. He plays knight f4. I was wondering about, like, queen e5 as well. Yeah, so queen e5 is best here. You played a2, and I guess it's a draw. So he gets greedy again. Oh my god. Now it's a clear draw. He doesn't take the draw. Oh my god. So he missed queen e5 check, presumably. But I mean, can you even play a1? Does he have a mate here? It's just a perpetual, isn't it? Like, if you play a1 queen, it's still a draw. So that makes this doubly dumb. You know, like, why would the guy not take the perpetual? You can queen and it's still only perpetual. He still can't win. You know, it's ridiculous. He plays this. This is suicide. Now, I don't know. Queen c3 check, queen c2 check. This looks very hard to find. You're very lucky if you won here. a1 and it's still a draw. King h8 check. So he takes your queen. Oh my god, he doesn't take the draw. So what's the point, you know? Knight f8 check, king g8, knight e6 check. Yeah. That's the point. Draw is draw. This is really a comedy. And then you're winning. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Maybe he thought he could get in there or something, but you're pretty fast. You're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you got the extra pawn. No, it was just irrational, you know, honestly. All right, let's move on. We got a lot of games to get to. Thanks, Move11, for gift subs. Somebody one day is going to donate, but I'm happy with the gift subs. Guys, I'm going to the World Senior Team Championship in April, the second half of April, in Albania. And we've got 4 months to raise money, because that's a pay your way. It's going to be a good tournament. I hope to play board 2 for USA Team 2. Oh, this is Rapid Pool. Hype train, gift subs, or cheer to level up. All right, where was I? Morales. You said Morales? Morales is a long-time VIP. So he was nice enough to submit a game. E4, C5, knight C3. This is his specialty. Closed Sicilians. He's very good at attacking closed Sicilians. E6. I played this against him myself with black a lot. Now he's willing to do like hybrids. You know, he doesn't stick to just the closed Sicilian. Against E6, knight F3. And so what does black do? If you play knight C6, you get bishop B5. So the guy did what I've done a lot, which is A6. But I think that, and I told Astrobate this today, there's obviously nothing wrong with what Morales did here, but G3 is always good against A6. And the same applies in reverse. G6 is always good against A3. If they play A3 against you in the Sicilian, you play G6. If they play A6 on the black side of the Sicilian, you play G3. So Morales, I'm sure he also plays this move. He ends up playing it anyway. But I'd like it immediately too. So D4, But technically, this is a Khan Sicilian now. The thing is, like, black doesn't have to play b5, right? Although b5 is the modern, this has been popular for 20 years. Queen c7 is... I mean, knight c6 is also a move. But b5 is the more risky continuation, but I think this suits Morales. Because he likes this counter fianchetto setup. Yeah, queen c7 is more solid. I agree. That's the way that Paulson intended to play the Sicilian, you know. I trust that move a lot more. I mean, b5 is aggressive modern line. And usually it goes like bishop d3, queen b6. This has been popular since 2000. When I was a kid, I don't remember seeing that played, but at some point in the 90s, early 2000s, it became a standard. Anyways, b5, g3. You know, g3 is not the main move. Bishop d3 is the main move, but this suits like Morales' style. Here, bishop g2. And now, you know, so the question is, what should black do? Well, white isn't threatening e5, so you could play knight f6. Black needs to get developed. You know, queen c7 is a horrible score. Look at that. You know what's going to happen? I think it happened to me before. But if white is fast, you know, castles, rook e1, and then queen on c7 can lead to like knight to d5 type of sacrifices, or just very strong sort of knight d5s. Even with the knight on f6, actually. But this is very slow. You know, I don't like d6. It looks awkward. So black has to be really, really careful here. You know, b4 is not a panacea. Jones, Vityugov, look at that. Adams, Kasparov, 1997 was a different era. But Jones, Vityugov. Morales is prepared for this. I had a game like this with him where he did do something like this. We had a game very similar. Player, Sparklehorse has black. Sparklehorse has black. Nope. 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 Yeah. Okay, so we had this twice. Can you guys see that? It's cut off on the screen. But there's two games I was twice black against Morales, and I lost one and drew one. One is from 2020 and one is from 2021. I lost the Blitz game and drew in probably a simul game, classical. But I played knight f6 in all games here. Alright, knight f6 is the best move. Black plays instead d6. This is very passive. Playable, but passive. Castles. And now clearly, you know, white is a tremendous scorer in this position. Still, development should be the #1 priority for black, so I would assume knight f6. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about, man. He's walking right into death by knight d5. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if white could play it right away. Like, as a little bit as for fun, but this might not be that easy for black, to be honest. If I just make a positional piece sacrifice here, after knight d5 takes. I don't think this is so easy, you know, for black to survive this. But it's probably going to get worse. You know, after rook e1, Dubov, Campora lost the game in 2003. But it's pretty hard to lose this with white, I would imagine. John Nunn versus Sigurd Jonsson. Oh God, it's like an Olympiad. No, it's 1975, John Nunn. He was 2375. Yeah, probably student Olympiad or something. Or maybe even World Junior. John Nunn was rated 2375 in 1975. So that's like World Junior or World Student Team Championship. John Nunn with this exact position with white. Rook e1, and now knight d7. I'm surprised no one has gone here. At least now black can move his queen to like b8 though. So maybe knight d5 isn't as effective now. Morales plays a4, cracking the queen side. Kudrin Davies, 1998. We're getting into modern times now. And then, man, Morales goes for it. All right, so players. Sparkle Horse is black. Nope. No, you won't catch me there. So Kudrin Kupraychik, also one of the most famous attacking players as far as sacrifices and whatnot, doesn't play 95. That's unbelievable. Kupraychik doesn't play 95, but Morales does. Unbelievable. Kupraychik in 1988. This guy loved to sacrifice pieces, and he doesn't do 95 here. Incredible. You know, but I mean, maybe, as I said, the thing is, like, now you can take on B4, right? Oops. Yeah, I mean, it's an offer you can't refuse now. I mean, what are you going to do? Maybe Queen C5? That's extremely dangerous. I don't think so. You know, I don't think that's happening. So why did all these guys chicken out and not play knight d5? It's sound. It's totally sound. The computer likes knight a2 better, but it's certainly not as fun, you know? Unbelievable. Let's go for it. Okay. So Morales novelty. He takes the piece, takes bishop e7, and you have a wicked initiative here. Knight c6 is going to be, you know, takes, and knight e5 blocking the line. So Morales messed up now. That's a very obvious defense. It's a blitz game. You know, it's a blitz game. Oh, you're here. Right. No, I mean, it's just too easy for him to play that. I mean, I know that you still have compensation, but on a practical level, yeah, you're just, like, you know, forcing him to do the right thing. He has to take and play like, you know, knight e5, or maybe consider a different move. Maybe he can go to a different square, like c5. So this was a mistake, but it's a blitz game. Who can blame him? Takes, here. Because knight e5 allows f4. I don't think that's helping black. This is too dangerous. Isn't it? Could this possibly be okay for black? Yeah, it's actually okay. Wow. So we have to find something better than f4. You can play queen d5. You could play bishop f4. I guess bishop f4. Oh my god. Gotta be fucking kidding me. Wow. Rook takes e5, takes queen d7 check. If Morales does that against me in the simul, I'm gonna, like, claim he's a computer or something. But it's pretty easy to see, actually. Very forcing sequence. Damn. If I was more awake, I would see it. Alright. I'm not programmed to find that kind of move today. Knight df6. Now the knights are redundant. So that's your piece down. You know, he has a redundant knight against an active attacking position. Bishop f4. Now I'm expecting king f8. But now you have more sacrifices. Maybe rook takes e7. No. What do you do after king f8? Alright, whatever. Rook d8, king f8 is next. You played c3. And now what's the idea? Launch? You're going to take and play b4, b5? That's your tricky idea? Nice idea. Maybe queen b3. If you knight the passed pawns, it's over. You knight the white. You knight the right rally. Charlottesville. Alright. King f8. C takes b4. It's just as bad. And then b5 and it's over. The pass punches win. This is even worse. He might as well have taken on c3. Yeah. This is a beautiful square for a bishop. Yeah, this is grotesque. Oh my god. c7. It's hard to watch this. It's a blitz game though, and we've seen Morales screw up blitz games before. I don't want to see him screw up another blitz game. Wow, nice move there. Okay, we got to do something better for black here. Rook c8. Nothing's going to save black here. Can he play knight to d5? Well, that's got to be better than what happened. It's still lost. It doesn't matter. Yeah. This is just over. Okay. So the typical Morales game, very nice. Very nice. You know, it is amazing that none of those guys like Kuprejcik went for knight d5. But it's almost as strong as knight a2. But I mean, that's what you do. Black, it's so hard to play these lines. Yeah, I've lost similarly against you. Alright, so next is Nefyadov. Nefyadov, where are you? Where are you? Welcome back, everybody. We're going to be streaming regularly, so keep the donations flowing. Chess is fun. Nefyadov, this is from, what did you play, Nottingham? Nottingham Forest? No, Newcastle under Lyme. It's Nefyadov versus Newcastle. He was drinking some brown beers after the match. Alright, we're playing e4. Black played the Scandinavian. I don't even remember. What does Nefyadov do in the Scandinavian? My gosh. This has to be like the best opening to play against Nefyadov. It has to be. And for whatever reason, I always forget I can play the Scandinavian. Queen takes it better than knight f6. And then I just want to mention knight f3 is fine too. And then, well, I think queen d8 is stupid, honestly, so. Queen e6 is also very dangerous for black. Queen a5 is probably best. And now, there are various moves. You know, bishop c4 is interesting. d4 is the main line. Knight f3 is fine. And then, there's also Alves. I like Alves rook b1. He played. I was there for that game in 2002 against de Guzman. I like rook b1. Just get them out of book. There's some idiot who wrote a blog about there's no good sidelines against the Scandinavian. Well, first of all, you don't need a good sideline against Scandinavian because it just sucks. Why would you need to play a sideline against the Scandinavian? Then the main lines are terrible. Alright. Like, an opening that's just fundamentally unsound. I played it a lot, but, you know, in today's era where information is so readily available, these dubious openings like the Scandinavian, knight f6 Scandinavian in particular, are really bad. Okay, so bishop g4 I played years ago. It's not good. You know, it's not good. You have to go for setups. Black has to go for setups with bishop f5. That's the only way. You know, or I don't know if Magnus Carlsen can play g6 or something. But this bishop g4 stuff is just bad. You end up getting your bishop trapped or shut down. White gets space. You give up the bishop on f3. That's like a French, you know, Rubinstein or something. It's terrible. Bishop g4 isn't good. And now, you know, black should probably take, objectively. I think it's the lesser of the evils. And you just have a very good French Rubinstein. After bishop takes f3, queen takes f3, white is just better. You know, c6. I mean, the queen is on a5, queen is on d8, whatever. It's a long struggle, but if it's like Leiko, Sarawan, game over. But okay, he plays more ambitiously, bishop h5. And so now, it's a little weird. I don't know without d4 in what you're supposed to do here exactly. Don't you have like, I would think you would have like G4 H4 immediately. Nefedov isn't, he's not like a, he's not a hacker. I don't think he has the murderous instinct. He plays with a little bit of carefulness. That the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde here would go nuts. I would play G4 H4 immediately. This looks strong. What does black have? He'll play H5, right? Maybe that is a problem. I'm not convinced, What if we play D4, allow him to take, and then go here? This is getting kind of weird. He goes back to H5. Alright. Yeah. We need the D4. We need the D4 in. Or something. It's true. Oh, my old friend Emil Salanci has a game. He's terrible now. He's like losing to 1600s. I think he has dementia. He was a good player until a few years ago, but he's in his 70s, early 70s, and sadly, I just saw this result. He like lost to a 1700 or 1600. Here he beat Namazzoli, another IM, in 2017, but Emil could still play in 2017. I took him to Zalakaros, where the Rapport played that exchange French, and he was giving some trouble to some really strong young champions. He could still play. This is 8 years later. He's lost it. After Bishop G6, what else can we do? Queen E2. This is an interesting move. Maybe Bishop takes E2, D3, Bishop A4. That's insane. All right. Shibinidze, 1985, Bishop G2. Who played B4? You gotta love that move, dude. I have a question. Does this move allow black to play allow white to play H4 now? Nefedov would never play B4. If queen takes B4, H4 or rook B1? What's up with H4? Oh, this hangs. Oh, god damn it. Yeah, you can't do it, but you have rook B1 there. So that's cool. There was B4 and black played queen B6. And we still can't do H4 because of queen E6 check. This is very interesting. Anyway, Nefedov doesn't go for it. He would never do B4. Good thing he's not here to rub it in. He actually played B4 right away. And we transposed to these games. Two Hungarians playing black here, I know. Both of them. Beaten them both. Queen B6. And now what's the idea? So you play G4, Bishop G6, Knight E5? Or we just go Bishop G2? Just go Bishop G2. And if C6, Knight E5. Very promising position for white. We're still not blowing them away with H4, H5. It's not that easy to finish black off here. But I like it, B4. Nefedov, very, very neat idea. Then you hesitated with Bishop E2. This isn't really a gambit because, you do immediately get the pawn back. I didn't expect it from you, though, I'll be honest. You're not this kind of, winging out those B pawn moves. Bishop B2 is okay. It's a solid novelty. A little bit too careful. E6. Castles. And then you're going to play G4 after castling, which is weird. Black plays Knight F6. You transpose to Richard Forster versus Antenna. And Naiditch Kusenyuk. Wow. That's crazy. So Naiditch in 1999, Naiditch was only 24-25. I remember seeing Kusenyuk in Isle of Man that exact year. She was just a kid playing the Isle of Man Open. But she was playing very well already. I didn't realize Naiditch. Yeah, Naiditch was a student of, I think, players I knew. Work with players I knew. Where's Naiditch's stream, by the way? Alright, so Forster, Stefanova. A3. Nefedov too careful. So they both played Rook B1. Yeah, why play A3 if you can play Rook B1? You must have heard the rule. Pawns should protect pawns, not pieces. That's what Nick DeFermian told me. So if you follow Nick's rule, yeah, Morales, Nefedov is right. A3 is better. But Rook B1 is more about development. Paul Morphy. Alright, so A3's novelty, a little too quiet. Nefedov's like, he's like me. He's like herky. How do you say herky jerky? Like 1 minute very aggressive, the next minute kind of like, you know, he can't quite get it together. He's careful and like aggressive at the same time, but mixing it in. Like one move very aggressive, the next move very quiet. Next move very aggressive, next move very quiet. First it's A3 and then it's G4. It's almost like you're two people. I'll do this a lot where I analyze my own games with the computer and I just know it's going to criticize me. But it is funny to go castle kingside, put your bishop on E2 and then play G4. Because ultimately, this bishop would be better here for pretty much every possible reason. Protect your king. Gufeld would approve of bishop G2. Bishop G6, and then knight E5. The problem is, of course, if you take on G6, you're going to have a problem with the H-file, and you need your bishop on F3. Oh no. The queen. It's a time to play C6. There's a time to play C6 in the Scandinavian. Oh no. Well, he attacked your knight. He could play C6, giving himself a retreat square. He attacks your knight, and he has this square available. Don't tell me his queen is trapped. There are some famous queen traps. If he goes here, you have B5. That doesn't look too good. Oof. Yeah, queen C5, D4. No more queen. So he had to go here, and then it's gonna be something involving knight B5. But you just quietly go there, and that's conveniently protected by your knight on C4. So he's gonna need a square for his queen. Oh, he has one. Look at that. How convenient. Queen F4. That protects C7 as well. You almost get the impression that black is okay here after this move. Man. It's not easy to attack the queen on F4. There's also H5. Black is starting H5. So Nefedov with a cheapo, another cheapo, threatening bishop C1. That's nasty. You're threatening bishop C1, trapping his queen. So he has to play C6, giving himself retreat squares. Bishop C1, queen C7. And so we just end up in a position where it looks like you have a bit more space, but it's basically some kind of weird Slav. Actually, Nefedov, I can see you playing black here. Just pretend it's the Slav. You know, everything's okay. Isn't it? Wow. I don't know. There's some issues, man. I don't think we're threatening F5. Once again, the Edward Gufeld Bishop on g2 would probably be superior. We're not threatening f5 yet. There's also knight to d5. Maybe that's not so good for black. So he plays h5. I like that move because he opens up the h-file. You don't have f5. And he gives his bishop retreat square in case he gets trapped. You know, so it looks actually okay. It looks like black is potentially going to castle queenside and be okay. Oh, white offers a draw. All right. Always take the draw when Nefedov offers a draw. Just kidding. Nefedov offered a draw. That's a sure sign that Nefedov doesn't think he's winning. I love calling him Nefedov. I love his name. I don't know. I should call him Pavel, you know. His name is Pavel. But I don't know. I just love saying Nefedov. It's such a cool name. I always call him by his last name. That's like I'm like a gym coach. You know how your gym coach? You ever have a gym coach in school? They don't want you to, you know, feel like you're on a level with them, so they have to like do the alpha male thing. Pascal. This Emery Tate did the same thing. I swear to God, he's just like Andrew Tate's dad. Andrew Tate's dad was Emery Tate. Emery Tate was always doing the same shit, man. People that call you by your last name, it's like they're alpha male. It's an alpha male thing. You know, it makes you like lower down. They're like a gym coach, you know. Pascal, do a mile. So anyway, Nefedov, I didn't mean it like that. You're not that brave to play g5. Well, it may not be a matter of being brave. In fact, it might be quite the opposite. Oh, knight b5. You weren't brave enough to play knight b5. Knight b5. Knight b5 where? When could you play knight b5? Here? I'm just looking at the last possible moment where you could theoretically play knight b5. Not here. Oh. Here? Oh, sacking the rook on a1. Well, it's just a trade, I guess, but that's hard to calculate. No, you had already kind of messed this up. It was all very inconsistent, but black still was not like winning. Yeah, I like his position. I agree with your draw offer, by the way. I think this was a smart moment to offer a draw. Like, you sensed it was going wrong, but it's not clear that you're losing, and I think it's a sensible thing to do. There's several things that can go right. You know, if you offer a draw here, he gets overconfident, you know, which is probably like what happened. It could mess with their mind. There was this guy who played like a computer against me like a month ago, and I'm still not sure he wasn't cheating because he was away from the board a lot. I'm very paranoid of this game. First time I've ever really suspected someone could be cheating. But the weirdest thing about the game was that he offered a draw after like 6 moves. And then went on to play like a computer and crush me, you know. Drawfer has a very strong psychological impact on a lot of people. So 95, 94, he immediately goes wrong as soon as Nefedov offers a draw. Look at that. Immediate blunder. The patented Nefedov draw offer. In action. So instead of 94, what's he supposed to do? Well, he didn't like his bishop getting captured, presumably. He didn't like taking on e5. But, I mean, maybe he can allow the bishop to get captured. I mean, this should be considered, right? Takes. I mean, how clear is this? Because, like, who the hell knows what's happening after something like g5? I don't know, you know? He's clearly better. But he freaked out with 94. hoping that he could like avoid getting his pawn structure mashed up. But it ended up that isn't so important. He's tied down to f7. That's very important, I think. He can't castle queenside without dropping knight takes f7. Or taking on e5, which would also open up f7. So now you played a very natural move. I also think that g takes h isn't really attractive. Bishop d3, trading pieces. Takes, and now he takes. And I would have done the same thing as you, probably. If you take with a d-pawn, he can play rook d8. And then, okay, you have c4 if rook d5. But you wanted to put pressure on f7 to prevent him from castling queenside, presumably. It looks like a good move. This looks like a good move. It looks very sensible. And now black played g6, which I don't understand. Maybe someone can figure this out for me. Why? I mean, black has a problem with f7, but why is black playing g6 now? I don't understand this move. What the heck is g6 about? Time pressure? Why would anybody play g6 here? You could castle kingside. There's always castle kingside. It's not pretty, and you're probably going to get checkmated on the h-file, but you might be able to break out with f6. I don't know. But I mean, g6? What is he going to do? King f8, king g7? What the hell is g6 about? I do not understand this move, not even vaguely. Maybe Nefedov can clue me in. g6 to defend rook h7. Okay. Thank you. So g6 is about playing rook h7. Okay. Now I understand. Very good. His intention is to play rook h7. I missed it. Of course, the only problem is that it costs time, but what can white do in the interim? It doesn't look like you have anything, like you can do. You need one more move. You would need at least one more move to generate a serious threat here. You couldn't find anything. You played bishop d2. Now, on the plus side, maybe you're safe. You can consolidate your position. You have to watch d4, you have to watch g4. But you have lasting pressure on... the problem with g6 is that it doesn't make that weakness go away. And he may not be able to move the f-pawn later. That's another point, though. Maybe it's about this. Like, if he plays f5, you can take. There's another point here. If he were to play f5, obviously you can't take en passant because of queen h2 mate, right? But maybe there's a subtle point. Like, he wants to play g6 so he can play f5. Could that be it? In fact, he could have played it, right? Bishop d2, f5. Fuck, he missed it. Oh my god. If he plays f5, bro, well, that's his whole problem. He played g6 as a brilliancy because it supports f5. Can you stop f5? You need to stop f5. So bishop f4. You went to the wrong move. You went with the wrong move. Bishop f4, if you prevent f5, that means his pawn will remain backwards on f7. Oh, Nefedov. You missed it as well. So bishop d2, and then he misses f5, which shuts down the kingside lines. His backward pawn is no longer backward, and he's fine. He can safely castle queenside. Possibly even put his king on f7 in some lines. He misses it. Unbelievable. And he plays rook h7. Wow. f5. And now Nefedov is just better. Oh no. Oh no. Now Nefedov's going to grind him down with a space advantage. Rook h7, rook h7, rook h1, rook h1, king h1. Torture time. Queen d8. He's looking for the d5 square. We don't have c4. So you think he's going to go with bishop g5. What about this queen d5? It's not a problem. I mean, you're not in any danger of losing, but can you win? Is the question. You're just going to, let him play queen d5? So it turns out you had king h2, queen d5, c4, which I also missed. It's better than king g2. He misses queen d5 check. Are you kidding me? This poor guy. He had so many chances. This is also a natural move, I admit. c4. So he manages to trade off his good bishop for your bad bishop. That's quite an achievement. And it's still objectively a draw. But he has that problem. But you also have a problem. But your king is better. So you can torture him here. Okay. Still, it's a draw. Nefedov would have drawn this with black, probably. I'm never beating him here. If Nefedov was black, it's a Slav. I'm never beating him. Ugh. Bruh. Is that the worst move ever or what? Queen d7. Squeeze me. Why not queen g8? Or queen e8, I mean, what would make you choose d7? I mean, you could play queen h4. You could play queen b6. Queen h8. Queen e7 at least, right? At least we'll try to, keep our queen on a square where it has some mobility. But he puts it on d7. Now I figured out his mistake, and now there. You can't trade queens. Oh no. So it's probably a draw, right? Now there's a case for queen d7. This is actually... No, but still, all jokes aside, I mean, maybe c7. There's the sneaky queen b7. No, I want the king to go to b7. It's probably still a draw, but he trades, and he offers a draw here. With that pawn on f6, I think it's safe to say that you're not losing. But are you winning? That's the question. I mean, I think he's in danger of Zugzwang, very seriously. If your king gets to e5, you break at d5, at your leisure, or leisure, if you're English. And, I mean, that's one way. There's another way your king could walk into, g7, and he just gets Zugzwang there. So there's a couple ways black can lose. This king gets in here, over here, g5, h6, g7. Or you get in here, and you break with d5, and you get a kind of Zugzwang. But offering a draw is funny. I'll let you know when it's a draw. King e4, king d6, c5 check. You have to be careful because if you play c5 check, he takes. If you take with the d pawn, he has a protected passer on e6, which might make problems for you. So you don't necessarily want to play c5 check. Maybe a4. You play g5. So apparently it's a draw. It is a draw. But I would never accept a draw with white. Nefedov was right not to accept a draw. I don't think that white has any losing chances here. Black, in fact, played the only losing move. One of the only losing moves. But if he gives way, you're going king e5. That looks very good for white, as I said. So he had to play b5. You know, it's still. I wonder if you could try something like King D3. Here. That's best. This is a. No. King D3 loses. Wow. You're lost after E5. Oh my god. So B5 is a dead draw. He plays C5. This is ridiculous. You have just an outside pawn. So he must have assumed that you couldn't make progress. So what's the deal? You like come in, you get that. So when you go to E7, he pushes E5, you take on F7, he pushes E4. You take on G6, he pushes E3. You both queen, but you queen first. What? Okay. Now, obviously, he can't play A5. So he has to go back, right? So you're just gonna hang out, and you're gonna walk into D6 and you just C pawn. This is weird. Yeah, it's winning. Yeah, too much space, you know? Too much space. That's funny. He offers a draw. So you offered a draw, he immediately blundered. He offers a draw, and he immediately blunders. This guy's good with draw offers. All right, Nefedov. You deserve to win. You're the better player. I gotta hurry up. We did Sun Prism. We did a bunch of games already. We've got Snedsteg. Snedsteg, I don't know what these ratings are. Club Championship. That's funny though. The G6 was really a brilliant move, but the point wasn't Rook H7, it was F5. We only found it in retrospect. So now, okay, Snedsteg is black against the Birds. This is Club Championship in Sweden. E3, C5, B3. Uh-oh. I have a bad record with this Nimzo bird. I lost a horrible game once. So you should play G6. G6 is best. It's best. I mean, it's just a reverse standard line. Once I lost with white allowing some kind of just standard trap, discovering on this diagonal 25 years ago. Okay, E6, it's kind of passive. Sense like there's no way you should do this. G6 is the best move, period, end of story. Nothing to see here. You just do G6 and you have a good game. Your king side is much safer. Now you're playing Lasker Bauer, not really because of C5, but anyway, it's just a Nimzo in reverse. Nimzo or Queen's Indian? Feel free to skip your game. We'll see how I feel. I'll save yours for last, and if I feel like it, I'll do it. Yeah, but again, okay, so Snedsteg playing, he's like playing E4. Now he's playing the black side of this, making him playing the white side of a Nimzo, Queen's Indian. I think that Bishop D6 makes a lot of sense. It's again, it's a Queen's Indian, reverse colors. You're allowing a Nimzo, fine. He doesn't play it. What? No good player in the right mind doesn't take this Nimzo. I'm taking Nimzo 100% of the time here. Bishop E2 is really lame. Take the Nimzo. So he doesn't. He plays Bishop E2. And so now, okay, where are we putting our bishop? On d6 or e7? Where are we putting our other bishop? Where are we putting this piece? I guess probably best is something like bishop e7. You know, I guess you could consider some weird stuff like a6 and b5. So the problem with bishop d6, if you play bishop d6, at some point he's going to stick this knight on e5, and you know, you're going to have to think about taking it, but you don't really want to do that in a lot of cases because the danger is too great. You know, the f-file, this, even if you take that pawn, this could be very dangerous. Whereas if you play bishop e7, when he plays knight e5, you can just chop it, it's no problem. So, this is very important for black. You play bishop e7, and that's important, because yeah, okay, there, good. Castle, castle, knight. Now, knight e5, you just chop it. Just chop it, no problem. It's not like Lasker Bauer, where the guy's bishop was on d3 and he sacrifices it on h7. It's on e2. Okay, maybe knight d7. This is kind of like a London. I would think this move is also... Pavel Blatny, oh. Check out Pavel Blatny versus me. Birds opening game for Bermuda 2003, 2 years later. That was merciless. I was like fully prepped for him. This Birds opening, Bird Larson, not great if your opponent is like expecting it, by the way. So here you played bishop d7. Another question is like, what about taking? Why is this so bad? So Blatny Zumsanda takes knight d7 and what, like c4, like Nimzo? Yeah, f6 was played in a game. I'm not so sure about that. What should black do here? I don't know. I don't like black's game. It's a little too passive. So maybe in retrospect, this guy's idea with knight d7 isn't so bad. There's your move. Okay, it's not so bad. Bishop d7. c4, that looks best. And then Stashkina is a girl from Ukraine. I think I played her dad years ago. He's a Ukrainian IM, and we played in an IM tournament back in like 1998. c4, and now you played d4. Really surprising move. Doesn't look like black's really set up for this. You're playing this bubble type of formation. Nothing active to do. I mean, do we want to consider bishop e8? Queen c7? Everything is kind of slow here. Chuck the knight in e4, pull it back to d6. That's what she did. Wow. Ukrainian girl variation. Knight e4. Before it's too late. d3, knight d6, and we can kick him out with f6. Or her, in this case. I don't know what would have happened if black had played f6. Probably something bad, yeah. I don't know about this. This is all very shaky. Doesn't look great. Very difficult. Another suggestion might be, well, screw the whole, you know, the whole bishop d7 thing. Maybe we should just go here right away. You're probably not keen on allowing this pawn structure. But still, it might be the lesser of the evils. We only have 10 viewers? What's wrong with me? Come on, guys. We're learning chess here. All you guys care about is playing bullet. Lubomir Nekar versus Ildar. What's up, Ildar? Where are you, man? They sent him back to Russia. Sucks. All right. So knight e5, bishop d7, c4, d4. Theoretical novelty. You know, hell, why not? Why is this so bad anyway? Bishop f3, that's best. And then rook c8 would be standard, I suppose. It's like a standard queen's idea with reverse colors. I know what these ratings are, though. I would think rook c8 rather than queen b6. This queen looks... I don't know. I mean, it has some ability to defend the king side from d8. I would much rather go here. You know, you also can consider queen c7. Let's just say, for argument's sake, white, like, were to win a pawn. I guess it's a problem. Let's say takes, rook d8. We almost have a little bit of compensation here. Maybe not almost. Damn. We do. We do. Freaking best move, man. Though it likes queen b6, the engine likes queen b6 too. I still think I'd rather be on c7. Okay, knight c6, bishop c6. So white is kind of unambitious. He's releasing all the tension now. Suddenly white seemed like he had a good position, then releases all the tension. Bishop takes c6. He's expecting you to like take with the pawn. But you realize you don't have to. He takes, you take. Now he gets like mega greedy with bishop takes d4. White loses this game, it's because of this move. Why does white need to take that pawn? You see, don't take the pawn, man. Are you stupid? You think that pawn is free? Black voluntarily gave you the pawn. Black could have taken with the b pawn here, keeping this protected. This is just sheer greediness. Takes, takes, and takes. But you're opening up all kinds of danger here. Bishop c5. But you know how good white's position if he doesn't take the pawn? Just d3? It looks like a very good Benoni. I like white. You know, honestly, I think white is probably better here. There's no knight g4. You have f5 sometimes. The knight's going to develop very naturally. Okay, black doesn't have to defend the pawn right away. But I mean, this is coming, you know, and then the pawn have to watch out. The computer thinks it's equal. But I don't think it's simple, you know. This is dangerous. All right, rook d8. By the way, you might prefer to do this rook. This pawn is poisoned. Although this rook might actually play from a8, so it's fine. And now, really nice move, rook d3. And if that's not better for black, I'll eat my underwear. Queen e2. Look at this control. Look at the control of the center for black here. I don't care if you're a pawn down. White is like paralyzed. 3 pieces over there. This is much more important than a pawn. Botvinnik approved. White's only chance is to try to like give the pawn back and break free. So really surprising move now. Allowing a trade of queens. I am there, man. Yeah. I think that Stenseg is very unambitious to do this. I mean, naturally, he didn't want to take unnecessary risks, but it seems weird to trade queens. At the end of the day, though, maybe there wasn't anything clearly better. Why don't we check first and see what's up, okay? Let's check first. King will... Where's he going to go? F1, H1? If we check first, it might be mate. I learned that in Harvard Square many years ago. But seriously, we've got a lot of options here. A lot of interesting stuff. Just for argument's sake, let's say King H1. I have really crazy ideas. I mean, even this endgame, I'm sorry, not that move. But rook f3, queen f3, queen f3, g takes, knight h5. I mean, even that endgame, black is probably better. f5. But anyway, whatever. Okay, you allow a trade of queens. I think you're giving him like real chances to draw here by trading queens. White's king is less safe. If there's any way to not trade queens, I would go for it. You ended up winning this game very quickly, which is surprising. Takes, takes. Okay, bishop c5 is a big threat. So rook takes rook, rook takes rook. Okay, how did this guy lose in just a few moves here, though? Can't he play king f1 now? I mean, what am I missing? Hello? Snedstank, what is he going to do after king f1? Holy shit. Houston, we have a problem. King f1. What does black do now? Maybe white's like better? Is that even possible? Oh my god. What are we gonna do? I don't like this, man. I don't like this. White missed king f1. Holy shit. Unbelievable. And he lost in like just a few moves. Crazy. Takes, takes. Oddly enough, you could play bishop c5 check here, but it doesn't do anything. And then king f1, and you're just on the verge of losing. So queen exchange was a really, really bad idea. Yeah. Alright, you're very lucky. Yeah, he missed king f1. And you're actually a pawn down fighting for a draw after that. Plays this. This is insane. Rook takes c2. So what about knight takes c4 now? Is white lost? It doesn't look great, but he can attempt something, right? It's still a draw. So this guy totally butchered the endgame. Knight c3, rook takes c2, bishop c1. Oh no. What did he miss? Oh fuck. He missed bishop c5 check. Oh my god. Bishop c1, missing bishop c5 check. Oh. It's a disaster. What a disaster. Jeez. He lost everything. What a disaster. Alright, next game, Mule Skinner versus Joaquin. And this is from the Granada Open? Where's my Mule Skinner? Way back when. This was sent in 2 weeks ago. A 90-30 game played a few weeks ago. It's from, yeah, Granada Veteran Tournament. Wow. These senior tournaments are getting very serious and very popular. So here we go. E4, D6, Knight C3. You can always play the Grand Prix attack against the Pierts. The worst thing can happen is that black transposes the Sicilian. I've tried this. I tried playing the Pierts against Mule Skinner. You just get the Grand Prix attack. F4, bishop G7, knight F3, and now the proverbial bishop G4. Well, it's probably better than doing it in the Sicilian, objectively. Black could try to set up with like pawn on E6 or something. But I just don't like bishop G4. It's just not good. There's also a case for bishop E2. What would Larson do? You know, everything's possible here. H3, bishop C4, bishop E2. Bishop G4 is such a bad move that, you know, white has like 3 strong responses against it. Probably 4. I mean, d4 is probably transposing to some modern line. That's probably the worst move white can play. Because you have to take back with the pawn. Even that's not so bad, though. We'll get some Osmai Parashvili modern. But anyway, okay, h3. Speaking about Osmai Parashvili actually did this. When he's not getting punched at FIDE meetings. Man, FIDE's really evil now. It's totally controlled by Russia. I think some shit's going to hit the fan soon with the International Chess Federation, though. People are getting pretty freaked out. Bishop takes f3, queen f3, and now e6. e6 makes sense. Shamkovich, Nigel Davies. Osmai probably played knight c6. Nope. He did c6. Okay, also reasonable move. Black goes e6, you know, trying to make up for the fact that he doesn't have a light square bishop. And now bishop c4. So I don't know. It feels like maybe Milskiner is trying to do the impossible here. Because you know Black's going to play like c6. He's going to play c6 and like d5. You play a Grand Prix attack type setup with bishop on c4, you know he's going to do that anyway. So I'm not sure you should put the bishop on c4. So if there's ever an option here for something else... the other thing is like, you can wait for knight c6 and then pin it with bishop b5. But in the meantime, what do? You know, you don't want to go here necessarily. Ebden did that and beat Shamko. Asterbate would play bishop b5 check. That's not a good move, though. So what should you do? You could play g3, Chernayev. It's hard to decide. What does the engine think? b3, creative. Wow. There's also a crazy idea here, e5. 2 grandmasters, neither of them played this. Yeah, okay, right. Well, Magnus FIDE won. Okay. The Russian Chess Federation doesn't strip people of GM titles. You know, FIDE controls the titles. Yeah, Fedoseev lives somewhere else now. I don't remember where. I thought. Doesn't he, like, live in another country now? So he spoke out against whatever, you know, Russia's war, I guess. Said something they didn't like. They said he disrespected everyone, and but they can't strip people of titles. They can take away his, like, Russian title or whatever. The GM title is controlled by the World Chess Federation. Yeah, that was part of it, what's happening lately. But there's a lot of stuff going on with FIDE in Russia, and it's run by, you know, Dvorkovich, who's de facto Russian, even though he has Israeli citizenship. He's basically a Russian. He was in Putin's, like, you know, orbit forever. Yeah, no, I don't know where Fedoseev is at the moment. I forget where he's playing for Slovenia, or he's in like another country, no? They're kicking him out of the Russian Chess Federation, but who cares, you know? The Russians should be kicked out of the World Chess Federation, but the Russians control the World Chess Federation, so we have a problem here. Anyway, Western countries are getting a little stressed out. Peter Heine Nielsen been posting about it. He's very up in arms. The Norwegian Chess Federation is protesting very seriously against Russia and their influence on FIDE now. So hopefully something starts to happen. Alright, so anyway, e6, we went bishop c4. I think this is weird, you know. Black should play c6 and d5. There's no other plan. I mean, that's obvious. This doesn't make sense. It's funny that the other guy did this against Dumont, who I played in 1999 in Venezuela, of all places. c6, idea d5. Thanks, Dr. Trip Chance. Knight c6. It's okay, but I mean, it makes more sense to kind of kill the bishop, I would think. D3. So we followed exactly this game from Brazil, 2004. He was a nice guy. Dumont from Rio. Castles. And then, I guess this is still a reasonable option for black. A4. This is a senior tournament in Granada. A4. I don't like bishop c4. And now queen f2. So it's basically transposed to a Sicilian. The moment that black plays c5. Of course, he's not forced to do that, but now you are threatening bishop e3. Black goes d5, bishop a2. That was the plan with a4. And now we really have a Sicilian. But I'm not sure that black should do this. I think the problem is this knight on d4. How is it going to be... If you don't play c5, how is it going to be protected? Yeah, he's playing for Slovenia. So I don't know where Fedoseev actually lives, though. You know, by the way. A lot of these Russian grandmasters are playing for other countries, but they presumably might still actually live in Russia, which would be a big mistake if you're like Fedoseev. I was assuming he was like in Slovenia, physically in Slovenia. Hopefully out of the reach of Vladimir Putin and all of his subjects. It would be unwise to speak out otherwise. But, okay, a lot of the Russian grandmasters have left. Sarana is, like, in Serbia. We have one here. C5, knight d1, b6. Black was quite a good player, it seems like. Knight e3, queen d7, c3. Okay, so it's like a close Sicilian. Looks like black's pretty good, but he has to be careful. He has to be careful with the white squares. If the white squares blow up, white could be better. Yeah, black's better, but he has to watch out for the white squares. And this is the break. It looks like black's better. But if the white squares melt down, then suddenly black's not better. Oh, I know. You of all people, Dr. Tripchans, play the Grand Prix attack, so you know, you understand what's going on here. This move changes everything. Changes everything. There's also this. Emil Skinner has a lot of experience playing this opening. Ah. Why would you play this with either color? Well, it's like easy to play with white. You know, this whole Grand Prix attack setup. It's kind of a sort of easy to play automatic system, right? Just do it. You don't have to study something else for the Pierts. If you play it against the Sicilian, you just play it against everything. Black, you know, the Pierts defense, why would you play the Pierts defense? Well, you got to do something. But I honestly thought I would prefer to go here. I mean, bishop g4 is bad, by the way. I think bishop g4 is just bad. But if you're going to play bishop g4, he should at least play it like a Gurgenidze. Try to play like a Gurgenidze Caro-Kann. Presumably. It turned into a Sicilian where he doesn't have a light square bishop. And the light squares, if he couldn't keep the light squares contained... Like, if black could play f5 now... No, seriously. If black had a free move now, and he could play f5, would he be okay? He would be in time to stop this. But as soon as f5 happens, now the shit starts hitting the fan. f5, d4, desperation, right? f6. So now we have a problem. This goes, but we're going to get the piece back, right? Here. And if you take on f6, I take with the queen. If you take on d3, I mate you with bishop h6. So you can't take on f6. He has to go here. Now we take. And so now, okay. Now we can stop and evaluate. The white square bishop is sort of a thing. But I think that there are other problems too. They have file. I'm not sure black is lost. Bishop h6. Black has some counterplay. And d4. I don't know if I want to play d4. Black has no bad pieces. It's like this mystery piece, you know. I think that what Muleskinner wants to do is hammer the d5 through. The only other way he can make this bishop break through is by getting in d4 or d5. And then we can connect the dots. Oops, sorry. I'm sorry, guys. We can connect the dots to that diagonal. So d4, take, pawn takes, right? And so we're trying to break the bishop out. It's like a jailbreak. Can we get our bishop in the game? Because if we can, then white is good. If the bishop shut down, it's bad. He's already made progress. He got rid of the d5 pawn. Huge development, right? Here, boom. And now we're threatening d5. Maybe. Black's bishop on h8 isn't great. That's for sure. But that's not the ideal square. Can he blockade on the dark squares? This is a lame move. Oh my god. Boom. Wow. That hurts, dude. Beautiful. Beautiful move. And now white's just totally winning. If I know Muleskinner, he's in time pressure here. Can we finish him off? Wow, what about e5, d5? He played d5. What about e5? You could plausibly play king g7. So d5, threatening e5. Maybe that's even better. I like it. King g7. What about e5? I just keep asking the same question, waiting for the same answer. If e5, what's the problem? Like knight takes d5? It's freaking me out. Yes. That seems plausible. So you play king g7, rook df1, threatening rook f7 check. And it looks like white is winning. Check. And then another pawn. And we're winning. We're up 2 clear pawns. That's a brutal move. Now what do we do? What do we do now? Our bishop's hanging. Oh man. Was this right? Are we panicking? We had to do something. We almost have a mating attack. That bishop coming to d1, you know? What if we just go to the 7th? He'll defend. It's not so easy. e5 here. What do we do? Man. This is no mating net, you know, here, takes. There's no mating net. Not so easy. Rook dd8. Is white winning? Unbelievably, black has chances to survive here. It's just not obvious what white's supposed to do. So he has 2 pawns up, and he finds bishop c2. And now the idea, I guess, is to try to play b4 at some point. So black takes. This pawn is now hanging. We have rook f7. Black could play rook h8, defending h7, by the way. It's rather passive. So he takes on e5. Check, king g5. Now do we have mating net? This is a problem. There's no rook there. We're threatening h4 followed by bishop d1. Check, king h2. That guards g3. So we're still threatening mate. There's got to be some mates here. This is a weird move. How is there not a mate here, man? This has to be mate. There has to be a mate. Come on. h4 check, king g4. It's impossible there's not a checkmate here. I just don't believe it. Wow. It's like the rook on h7 isn't doing anything. It's so stupid. It's unbelievable there's no mate here. King g3 is the best move. Wow. So he has rook e3 too. Rook e3 check, king f2. That's a problem. I guess. Yeah, rook e3 check, king f2. So knight e4 check, we just take. And obviously now we're threatening mate in 1 with h4. So this looks kind of forced. Check. And rook f3 is lame. So white has to play king f2. So what's happening here? Oh, now we have bishop d1. And the rook's attacked. So the point is we're threatening h4 check followed by bishop d1. And the rook's hanging at the same time. And he can't play knight e4. And you know. So if d4, for example, h4 check, king here, bishop down. Game over. Yep. Alright, good game. Sun Prism we did. Cheesy Noob Study. How do we have so many games left? Alright, I'm not going to do Cheesy Noob Study. How much time do we have? It's 9:30. Okay, we've been streaming for 2 hours and 45 minutes. Eton submitted your game today. So flip it up. No, you're playing a 2582. Wow. Is this a simul? No. This is a 5-minute game. I guess 2582. Draw. Wow. 5-minute game. King's Indian. I mean, c5 is the best move. The only other option here is, you know, usually knight a6. Harder to play. Theoretically, black could play e5. I don't know where that stands. Alright, so c5 best move. Arthur Bisgeier played... What did he play against me? Bishop e2? That's a dragon. It's a classical dragon. Okay, so d5. And now e6. It's not popular, but there's also... You could play like a kind of Benko with b5. Okay, main line. There's also this line, which is kind of annoying. Pawn takes e6. I knew a guy who used to play this all the time. He was an expert in it with white. If white really knows what they're doing, I guess it can be kind of annoying. But most people play bishop e2. And now takes. And now you played the sharpest move, rook e8. Not too many people know this line. You have to really know what you're doing. I have a friend who was an expert in the four pawns attack, and he lost to Artashes Manassian once in the New York Open or World Open with this line where Manassian played rook e8. But black has to know this, like, exactly what he's doing. After rook e8, e5. Takes, knight g4. This is extremely sharp. This is the way that white would play if they really knew what they're doing, you know. And black has to really know what they're doing as well. It's extremely, extremely complex. A lot of like sacrifices, and both sides can sacrifice material, exchanges, whatever. But rook e8, knight d2, you know, I don't think this is as scary. But I was going to say, like, why don't you play bishop g4? Because that's the reliable move for black. Bishop g4 is just fine. You know, I think this is gold standard. I would think the best players go with bishop g4. This is more ambitious. All right. Knight d2. And now I don't know. The only thing about rook e8 that's problematic is that sometimes your knight wants to have that square to retreat. And the other thing is that the rook on f8 can protect f7 in some lines. So there can be issues like you can't play knight e8 when you need to. The thing is you have less space, so trading pieces makes sense. This is a golden rule in the Benoni. So here you're not trading pieces, and now a4. So now you made a very strange move. This is like Astrobate school of chess. This is insane because you're asking white to play, you know, obvious moves here, a5 or knight c4. This is very bad. Never play queen b6 in the Benoni. You know, I mean, unless you've like played b5 already. Don't put your queen in front of your b pawn in the Benoni. I mean, I don't think this is a good idea, almost ever. Or your knight, occasionally with the knight. If you're maneuvering knight c8, knight a7 maybe. This is definitely not a good move. It's like a cheapo. But this variation, it's strange. Black has all these pieces. There's no freedom. You know, it's hard to play. White has a good score for a reason here. So, you know, next time play bishop g4. It's much easier to handle. And probably just better, objectively. I still think this is the scariest line, though. Okay, so knight d2. Yeah, I don't know what to do. Apparently knight a6. You can go for this or this in certain lines. I still don't like black. It's hard to play this. So now knight to g4. That's a neat trick. You have queen h4 check. This is bad. No, black doesn't have an obvious plan. It's all based on tactics. This knight g4. Yusupov Ullman. Bishop g4. Queen h4 check. g3. Queen takes g4. Black did very well here. But what about this? Oh no. So Yusupov Ullman 1998. Was that after was that after Yusupov got shot? He was never the same. So knight c4 is best. Alright, so queen b6 is really bad. Knight c4, queen c7, this is bad. You're in a really bad position. Bishop f3 here, and now, you know, it's terrible for black. He's starting to annihilate you. Castles. And amazingly, this position was reached in a game. Black played knight b6. Well, yeah. You should play knight b6 because you have to try to trade pieces. So white in that game played knight e3, avoiding exchanges. This is sometimes awkward. White is better. You managed to trade pieces. This is going to be like a perfect game by black. I feel like I'm having deja vu. This player always plays like perfect games against people. Bishop f3, rook takes f3, rook b8, rook a2, queen b4, another perfect move. What a coincidence. White is 25-82. It's a draw. Somehow white gets a draw. White is losing. Totally losing. Wow. How did white get a draw? Like you're just crushing this 2500. Totally winning. Maybe time. And you couldn't win this ending. Weird. Pretty weird how this game can end in a draw. 1/2 wins. Not really getting this draw thing. Takes the draw. Nice of you. Yeah, no comment. No comment. We get some weird submissions, but I think I figured it out now. All right. Do we have any games left? We did. We got it. There was Cheesy Noob Study and someone on and Move 11. Okay, Cheesy Noob. Very quickly gonna go over Cheesy Noob because he gives me a headache. Cheesy Noob is black. This is a over the board game. Yeah, I mean I don't want to talk about that. It's pretty obvious to me what's happening there. All right. So E3, Knight F6, Knight C3. Cheesy Noob plays the boring and solid Schlechter Slav, which I can never play. This is a weird move order by White. Like, why is White playing Bishop E2 in front of Knight F3? There doesn't seem to be any problem with it. It just transposes castles, and then Rook E8 now. Well, I would think like Cheesy Noob would be the first person to play Bishop G4, since he hates bishops anyway. Why don't you play Bishop G4? Schlechter Slav is really annoying to play against. Yeah, I don't think that game was real. I think it looked like Black was using an engine. Anyway, this game is a standard Schlechter Slav. B3. Modest approach, but what is White supposed to do? Queen B3. That's not exciting either. It's hard to really suggest anything. I mean, what are you supposed to play? Knight E5? I mean, maybe. B3 looks reasonable, but then you see this diagonal. You got to be careful. Bishop G4 would be no. Okay, so we got to this point, right? This is where I saw it from. And Bermakin, my old blackjack buddy, who's a very, very dry player, by the way. He drew, shockingly. Russian Grandmaster Vladimir Bermakin. Very, very dry. Kind of boring style. I have a draw and a loss against him. But very solid. Knight E4, Bishop B2, and now Bishop G4. So, Lukin played him once too. So now White played Rook C1. And now Cheesy Noob still following a game from 2001, E6. And now White played the novelty H3. In the A6 Slav, sometimes you'll play like this, and if White has to capture, you can take with a knight there. But I think there's a problem here because there's knight is on E4. If you go knight E5, I'll probably do this. I mean, I don't know that this is bad. Takes, bishop takes E2, queen E2. It looks like it's fine for both sides. It's totally equal. So anyway, I mean, maybe knight E5 is better. There's a game here where Yevseyev played knight takes E4, d takes E4, so that messes up Black's structure. But he has space advantage. Bishop takes E2, queen E2. This is sharp. This pawn becomes weak. E5, knight takes E4. That's kind of scary. It's very scary. So I don't know. That looks frightening to me. I wouldn't do that. I think knight E5 is the safest option for White, but it's also counterintuitive because you don't really want to trade. You don't necessarily want to trade your good bishop. But again, I'd like to get this in, keep that knight out. Black can't really give up this piece here. So knight is awkward. So Black would do that. Black would take here, and it's totally equal. But But h3, okay. We just take. And now played f5. And this reminded me of a game I had at the World Senior. It was a King's Indian, but it was a d5, like Grunfeld King's Indian hybrid. I had the same thing. Type of position against Duong from Canada. And yeah, I mean, it's like black doesn't have any bad pieces. This bishop on b2, this is a case where Cheesy Noob's, obsession with giving bishops away for knights is actually justified, because black has traded off the bad bishop and no other pieces. But it's a stone wall where you have no bad light square bishop. It's fine for black here, and now white, decides to take on e4. Well, I mean, what does white do if he doesn't take on e4? I mean, can you try to play like g3, bishop g2? It doesn't seem safe to weaken the structure. So he takes here, okay. Now which way do we take? I mean, I think that black also has to consider this way. But I guess this is better. Although a rook should be on the f file in some instances here. Why bishop d1? I guess he figures if bishop g4, black plays like knight f6. But honestly, I'm not sure that knight is better on f6 than it is on d7. Maybe we want to actually induce... I mean, is h5 a good move for black? Is knight f6 a good move for black? Doesn't he want this knight here to kind of guard these squares? So maybe bishop g4 isn't so stupid, but this is definitely weird. Why would you put your bishop on d1? He wants to go queen e2 maybe. I mean, the most natural move is bishop e2. But I think that bishop g4 deserves consideration, because I don't see where this knight is going after this. Where is this going? And now I can't play e5, so what am I doing? And h5 is playable, but it's kind of reckless for black. I'm not sure h5 is necessarily improving black's position. I don't know, So let's see what the engine says. Yeah, it kind of likes bishop g4. It thinks that white's fine in all cases, though. Bishop d1 is a bit weird. Queen g5. And what are we threatening? We're just preventing f3 by keeping an eye on the base of the pawn chain at e3, or near the base, right? Queen e2. This is a smart move. And now h5. So this is now getting kind of critical. I don't know. He wanted to prevent queen g4 trading queens. But white can move the f-pawn now. I mean, for the first time, white has to seriously consider f something. Maybe even f3. So if takes, we take back with the rook. I don't know. Maybe this is dangerous, but there's also f4. Takes, take back with the rook. White doesn't have to do it. So he plays bishop c2. Now black plays a6, standard like stonewall structure. a4. And then suddenly, out of the blue, Cheesy Noob's like, I'm going to attack you on the dark squares. This is a very surprising move, because you say, well, what about this now? White isn't really in position to apply pressure to the d5 square. But it's kind of counterintuitive to open the position when you have a knight and white has the bishops. I was also anticipating this being more likely, a slightly more likely candidate, due to, I guess, the C file. But you would think like Cheesy Noob would do something like rook f8, maybe try to double on the F file. This seemed very surprising and impulsive. Bishop b1, but now I don't know. There's this pin. This is a problem. So white had to be more careful. I mean, a4 can't be a good move. What about bishop a3? I know what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to play bishop f8. I don't know what else to suggest. So a4 is a really bad move. Okay, c5, heads up, bishop e1, and now c takes d4, and now this pawn is getting stronger. And white takes to the bishop. Well, he didn't want to have a bad bishop. After this, the bishop looks very bad. So I expected Chisinau to take, but it's still not that easy to see what his plan is. So maybe this is a good decision. I don't know. Knight e5. Threatening knight f3 check. King h1. And now rook c8. But is both sides are okay here, right? I mean, this looks basically kind of equal. What happens next doesn't seem right. What if Chisinau's opponent had decided to play c takes d? Because I'm looking at the position in terms of pawn structure, and black has all the pawns on the right color, but the 3 islands. And opening the c-file would kind of shut down any chances of a kingside attack. I think that white would have been fine. This may have been a very important mistake. He plays c5, taking pressure off the black pawn at d5. Going for some kind of queenside, advance. But this was not necessary. And if black ever gets an e5 later, now b4 following up with that queenside. But the f-file is starting to look dangerous. And this is more sort of cheapo stuff. I think we have real rook f3 ideas in some positions. White more or less like panics here with bishop takes e5. And the opposite color, bishops is sharp. And you would think like white would continue with b5. Because what is black threatening? Well, this. The only thing is, like, rook f3, if white plays king g1, I'm not sure. So let's say white plays b5. Take, rook f3. Threatening rook takes h3 check and mate. So white plays king g1. So now we just double. But I guess the question becomes, is black threatening something? Maybe. So let's say white just goes, right, with the pawn. Takes, and we could blockade. Or we could go with immediate sacrifice. Takes. And if queen takes, f4, takes en passant, and like queen somewhere. Bishop g3. Just to give you guys an example how dangerous this can get for white. Yeah, instead of queen h3, that's also possible. Yeah, this is also possible. I just wasn't sure if white was like queening or something. Well, he could sack his queen. That's not good enough. Yeah. This looks very good for black. This is winning. I guess you can let him make a queen. Or can you? Well, king h7. Rook c7 check. We're going for a walk. King h6. Check. King g5. Whoops. Check doesn't work. Oh no, no checks. Oh no. Look, man, no checks. Yeah, that looks bad. That looks bad. You could sack your queen, though. Queen f3. That's mate in one. Yeah, that's kind of a problem. Alright, move 11. Anyway. Yeah, so it's going to get bad. The big mistake was c5. And also taking on e5. So white made several mistakes. strategic mistakes. F3, this is kind of desperation. But it's understandable. And it's almost impossible to play this move, but that's what he had to do. He plays queen takes, looks natural, but now this is too strong. Opposite colored bishops is always sharp, and it didn't help white. It actually made things worse in an already dangerous position. So he made a number of serious strategic missteps that lead to checkmate. And now he's really tied down. I don't think that he can save the position. And this is going to get really ugly. He just lost. Okay, so last game, Joseph Jurasic against Matthias Fabre. I'm going to look at this from black side. No. I'm going to look at it from white side. All right. Move 11. I know you play the black side of Catalan. Let's take a look. So it's a ready, not a Catalan, but it transposes. Castle, castle, d4 takes. And now queen c2. Main line. So b5 is interesting. b6 is a move. And a6 is the main line. And now a4, of course, is the modern move. Queen c4 is still very popular. And then a very surprising move by black now. Rook a7. Rook a7 is bizarre. So I found a more interesting game where this happened. Mantovani played Rook a7. This World Senior? Oh, a6 95, Rook a7. a6 95. What? Six queen c2. He takes c4. Queen takes c4, a6. This position. I'm a little confused. I think you're talking about a different position. But let's just see what happened here. So d takes c4. Here, 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 rook a7. So a weird move. Getting off the diagonal. White just went back. Black plays knight on bd7. And now we transposed some other games. Strangely. Including a game by you. So this is actually transposing some kind of known position. That's funny. So rook a7 is actually engine number 2 move. And it's never been played. Playable. It's playable. But very odd. Queen c2 here. Okay, black is a 1900. So he's a much weaker player. White is 2390. This is strange to play bishop g5 a little, but typical in the Catalan. I mean, you oftentimes give that piece up. What black does now, yeah, this doesn't look right. It doesn't look right. He never achieves c5. He does achieve c5. So why not rook fd1 now? That will give black time to play bishop b7. The point is, okay, he plays rook ac1, preventing bishop b7. But black gets in c5. So I guess the question is, black, okay, well, is this going to be a problem like knight e5? We're threatening to take on c5 as well. I'm not sure how much that does. It looks like black is okay, so this might be a critical moment. If bishop b7, he must be concerned about takes. So what are you telling me? There's no discovery. There's no discovery. Unbelievable. Here. Oh my god. This isn't like a correspondence game, is it? That would kind of explain it. Could be. I don't recognize those names. Move 11. Is this a correspondence game? Bishop d6, man. There's nothing white can do. That's so weird. So he ended up like trying to force things with rook d7. But this obviously allows this. Swiss Individual Championship. Of correspondence. It's the Swiss Individual Correspondence Championship. Rook c7. A lot of rich CEOs firing up their computers. Rook dc4. Wow. This is wild. Very computer-like. Huh? Wow. But at this point, are we just losing material now? So I guess you were right. It was an over the board tournament. Something went drastically wrong here. The white certainly played the computer. Rook d7 is a mistake, but I mean after this, it's still not obvious. He could have played c takes d4 and sacked the exchange. And that's at least like playable. So I think that the interesting takeaway that this rook a7, it seems kind of weird. White plays the very best move. And now b5 is possible. And here's a game. Stanislav Savchenko. b5 was possible. Something weird about rook a7 and following it up with like knight d7. Yeah, it's an obscure variation. All right, move 11. Thank you. I would consider it, but I don't think you're going to see this. It's too weird to really see this repeating itself too much. Though it is strange that it transposes to something here. Knight d7. That's a novelty. That's interesting. Bishop g5 is a novelty. Black reacts with h6, though. I mean, is that really relevant? Does he need to do that? Black never really solved this problem on the queen side. Why is this rook on a7? You can't just like put your rook on a7 and just leave it there without any kind of plan. h6, bishop f6, knight f6. Rook d1. I expected rook d1. Knight on bd2, b6. That's really weird, weakening the light squares. And now white could have played knight e5. Oh, okay. So this was a mistake by white. He had knight e5 here. So I think you have good chances in the next Swiss Individual Championship. Consider moving to Switzerland. I think your future is a lot brighter than the United States and Hungary. All right, guys, I'm out. Have a great night. I'm going to try to stream tomorrow a little with some blitz challenges between around 12:30 and 2. Again, we're keeping regular schedule, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Sundays. Thanks, everyone, for donating and gift subs. And I'll see you tomorrow. And Sunday, Simul, the big stream. Thanks, guys, for tuning in.